For those who are unfamiliar, this is Steven Crowder. He is a right-wing political commentator, an extremist, and to my knowledge, he's like the biggest conservative political commentator on YouTube, I think. He's got like 5 million subbies or something. Well, there was this whole thing that happened not too long ago where he was offered a $50 million contract by the Daily Wire, by Ben Shapiro's network, to become one of their hosts or whatever. And he, not only did he decline, by the by, while we watch this, we're going to listen to this video. We're going to play some Breath of the Wild while we do. If you've never played this, don't worry about it. It'll just be in the background here. But anyways, so Ben Shapiro offered him $50 million to become a host, and he declined. And he went on this crusade against Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire and claimed that they're trying to take advantage of people by giving them these bad contracts and blah, 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 blah. It was ridiculous. It was just fabricated drama for the sake of, being fabricated drama. Simple as that. Well, the people at the Daily Wire didn't take kindly to that. And if there's one thing that we know about the people at the Daily Wire, it's that a couple of them, at the very least, can be a little underhanded and dirty, like Candace Owens, for example. So, yeah, she came out and said some questionable stuff about him, said she has information about his life, and if he doesn't clamp it about the Daily Wire, she's going to release that information to the world. This was 3 months ago, I think. Everything had died down and disappeared. It was over Christmas or after Christmas, like January 2023, something like that. Everything had died down by and large. And here we are with Steven Crowder addressing it. He felt the need, even though this had completely died down, to explain what happened, to address Candace Owens, supposed extortion or whatever. So let's listen to him explain what the whole thing was with Candace Owens. It's absolutely absurd, and I'm not even sure I believe him. But, okay, let's listen to this.
Hey, we'll be on with your regular programming and Nick DiPaolo in third chair in a little bit, but needed to take a moment here to address some issues out there that are circulating. It's never fun, but, I guess let me be clear here. I have been living with a proverbial boot on my neck for going on years now. Since 2021, I've been living through...
Okay, we're going to get to it in a sec. It's about his divorce. I'm not convinced that's it. But he also, video surfaced of him saying that he was bi at one point in his life. And when a conservative says that they're bi, what it really means is that they're gay and they don't want to, come out and admit that they're gay, usually. When, a socially conservative, extremist kind of person who can't handle the idea that they're gay comes out and says that they're gay, it's usually a little bit deeper than that. So I suspect that he's lying even about this. I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe it's that he is gay. Maybe it's that he's getting divorced because he's gay. I mean, who knows? Who knows, right? I just don't believe his story, but let's keep listening here.
On years now. Since 2021, I've been living through what has increasingly been a horrendous divorce. Now, let me say on the outset, to be clear, there is no infidelity, any kind of physical abuse at all on either side. And no, this was not my choice. My then wife decided that she didn't want to be married anymore.
Okay, well, that's how it works, right?
And in the state of Texas, that is completely permitted.
Okay. It sounds like he's opposed to the fact that people can make decisions for their own lives. That's completely permitted, he says. Yeah, obviously, people can make choices for their own lives if they want.
It's been the most heartbreaking experience of my life, what I consider to be my deepest personal failure. And just so you know, my opinions on parenting and families have not changed.
Well, it is relevant that, he cares about, the views on children and parents and all that other junk, because this would be a deeply hypocritical situation if it was his choice, because this is all he talked about is families and parents and single child or single parent households and stuff like that.
I've always believed that children need a mom and a dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter.
Wow, dude. My beliefs don't matter, he says. So he's basically advocating for forcing his wife to stay with him because it's his religious belief. Like, wives should not be allowed to leave their husbands under any circumstances without the husband's permission, because that's just what he believes. That's how it is. That is psychotic. And by the way, this type of twisting around the talking points, twisting around the narrative, it's called Darvo. What is it? What's Darvo stand for now? I'm trying to remember. Oh, it's deny. I remembered it before it even popped up. Deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender, or reverse victim order, depending on whatever. Anyways, the idea is actually implemented by the KKK all the time. It's been implemented by the KKK for like decades and decades and decades. Pretend that you are the mistreated one, the persecuted one, even though you are actually the one trying to violate people's rights. Okay, so we live in a society where men and women are equals and free to make choices of their own accord. You know, if Steven Crowder's wife wants to divorce him, she's perfectly legally free to do so. But Steven Crowder doesn't like that. So he's going to Darvo his wife, flip it around, and make her the bad guy. He's going to claim that his beliefs are being violated. His religious rights are being taken away from him because he's not allowed to oppress somebody else. Like I said, the KKK has been doing this for years. When black people got the right to go to the same school as white kids, the KKK said, poor white kids are losing their ability to, live their life according to their beliefs. Their religious beliefs are being violated because their religious beliefs are that black kids should not be in the same room as them. Or these white kids are not being allowed to express their religious beliefs because schools have banned teachers from leading students in prayer. And that is a violation of these kids' religious rights because they want to pray with their teacher, ignoring the fact that it's actually the other people in the equation that are having their rights taken away. That's very intentional. And that is exactly what Steven Crowder is doing here. These are KKK talking points and strategies. The KKK has been doing this exact thing for years, for decades. Hell, centuries? Maybe. So anyways, Steven Crowder is super upset that his wife is allowed to make decisions for herself because he's upset that she is a free agent because he isn't allowed to control her anymore. That's what he's saying right now. Seriously. Doesn't get clearer than this.
Dad, that divorce is horrible. And I still believe that children need a mom and a dad and that divorce is horrible. But in today's legal system, my beliefs don't matter. In Texas, divorce is permitted when one party wants it, period. So for well over a year, in the best interest as well as physical safety of my children, we've decided to keep this issue private and to resolve it privately with the appropriate attorneys, what have you, legal jargon. And all this, one thing I want to be really clear about is certain. True north here is that my children are blameless, completely without fault, and so we decided to resolve.
Did anybody accuse the children of it being at fault? Aren't they like a year old at most? I mean, his wife just had twins, right? Why did he bring the kids into this at all? This is weird and confusing.
Children are blameless, completely without fault, and so we decided to resolve these issues privately, as it's in their best interests, both emotionally and physically.
He's using them as a shield, is what he's doing. He says, if you dig into my divorce at all, then you're hurting my children, and there's your reason not to do it. So this is going to be relevant in a second. Candace Owens came out and said, there's something questionable happening right now, something shady going on, right? And she said that she would reveal it soon if he, continued his crusade against the Daily Wire or whatever. And he's saying, well, here's what it is. It's a divorce, and my kids are blameless, okay? Don't blame my kids for this. You can't blame them. Nobody even considered blaming your kids. This is the clearest example of using kids as a shield that I think I've ever seen.
To do so. Now, the other issue is, and this is something that I've kept private for likely far too long, many other people knew about this behind the scenes. Some, not all, but some of them in positions of power, influence, leverage, knew of this. They also knew that the safety of my children included keeping it private. So if...
how? I mean, is their safety, compromised now that you've come out and released this video? In what way was their safety in danger if the public knew that you were going through a divorce? What are you even talking about? This is nonsense. Either their safety was never in danger, or it's in danger now, right? He's using his kids as a shield. This is dirty, and people fell for this.
If you're familiar with the idea of extortion, then you know the feeling well. Now, some of these threats were so thinly veiled that I'm frankly surprised you didn't all guess immediately.
Okay, yeah. So he's talking about Candace Owens right now. Like I said in the beginning of this, the Daily Wire offered him $50 million to be a host there, and he turned on them and attacked them for no reason. He didn't even have to do that. He could just said, no, I'm good. And his complaints about contracts and taking advantage of people, this is all fabricated. This is a standard boilerplate contract that he was offered by the Daily Wire. He was not being taken advantage of or whatever by the Daily Wire. That's just garbage. And Candace Owens came out, a member of the Daily Wire, complained to him and said, you know what? I'm going to reveal your dirty secrets if you don't back off the Daily Wire. Now, is that dirty? Oh, yeah, definitely. Candace Owens is about as dirty as it gets in her tactics. I don't condone that. But that's not extortion necessarily. I don't know. I mean, look, you roll around in the mud with pigs, you're going to get muddy, right? That's the saying. I guess it is extortion, or I guess the technical definition probably doesn't meet extortion or blackmail or whatever, but it was dirty at the very least, right? But if you roll around with pigs, you're going to get dirty.
Stephen has a lot going on, I guess is the best way to say it. He has a lot going on, and that should be clear because people don't do stuff like this if there's not a lot going on in their lives. I would like to implore my audience and everybody that isn't paying attention to this situation not to condemn him, but to pray for him. Sometimes people need a prayer. Sometimes people need a scripture. Stephen purports to be a Christian. I am unsure at this moment if it is my place to say more than that. Maybe if I feel in further defense, some things should be said, or maybe if I feel that the public has a right to understand certain circumstances.
Oh, my children.
So basically, she was saying, if you don't clamp it, then I'm going to reveal secrets about you. And he claims that secret is he's getting divorced. And he kept it quiet for his kids' safety. Come on. First of all, I don't believe that it's a divorce, or there's more to this story. There's more to this. And second, what does your kids' safety have to do with any of this? Are they safe now? Are they not safe now? It's just absurd. Come on.
Don't have a right to privacy. Now, some other issues have been, or I should say, inferences have been more pernicious behind the scenes with demands and threats to use this information that they believe would be so publicly embarrassing to me and my wife at a difficult time, that it could be used, knowingly putting my children in harm's way. So,
well, I mean, you were being a scumbag, and that's how this works, baby. If you don't like, being in a situation where people are like, where, they have something over you or whatever like this, don't be a scumbag. Don't roll around with pigs if you don't want to get in the mud. This guy openly attacked this woman's network, right? Like, went after it for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And, like, used people against each other to just to hurt them, just for the sake of it. When you do that kind of thing, you're gonna find yourself in a pickle, That's how this works, baby. Welcome to the real world, and he knows that.
To those self-styled Christians, conservatives, and allies, well, not in my book. Now, if you find yourself, I don't want to get into details, so this is going to likely be the only time I have to address this or want to address this. If you're asking yourself, hey, did X person or did Y person know? The answer is likely yes, which will be made alarmingly clear as this process of discovery continues. And it also, by the way, makes me that much more appreciative of those who did know about this and, in understanding the best interests of my family, my children, kept their word and used discretion. I can't thank you enough. Sincerely, I appreciate it. Won't forget it. It's pretty simple. I loved a woman so much that I married her. A woman who, despite all of this, I still love as the mother of my children. And she wanted something else for her life.
And that's her right. That's how this works, right? You're allowed to make your own decisions?
That's not my choice. She simply wanted out, and the law says that that's how it works. Now, of course, look, I get it. There are
Wow, dude. He says the law says that's how it works, so I just have to accept that she can make her own choices. That's insane! Does he not see how insane this is? Seriously. Are you not connecting the dots on this? This is absolutely wrong. Like, you want to take people's rights away.
multiple sides to every story, but one thing that is undeniable in this case is that it's no one's fault but my own in that I picked wrong, and that's certainly not the fault of my children.
Wow, dude. This is just completely ass backwards. Using his kids as a shield again. That's certainly not the fault of my children, so leave them out of it. And if you dig into this in any way, then you're hurting them. And it's not my fault, really. It's my wife's fault. That's the backhanded way of saying that, right? Backhanded compliment, kind of. Like somebody saying, you don't look as fat today as you did yesterday. You know, backhanded compliment. Those are deeply destructive, by the way. And that's the type of thing that abusers do. It's really my fault. It's my fault, not yours. It's mine, because I picked wrong. Just disgusting, dude. This guy is absolutely terrible in every way.
And I will say that what's in the best interest of my children is not internet drama, speculation, certainly not blatant or veiled shakedowns or dragging their father or mother, and I can't be clear on that enough, or their mother through the mud. And to anyone who tries it, I'm no longer going to pacify, capitulate, or sidestep because I love them a whole lot more than I love you.
So he's basically saying, I'm taking the gloves off and I'm going to reveal a bunch of drama to a bunch of people. Or I'm going to start drama. He doesn't even, I don't know that he's even aware of drama. Certainly not now. He tipped his hand and showed himself to be a drama queen before when he attacked the Daily Wire for absolutely no reason. But he's saying that he's prepared to, like, start all kinds of drama with all kinds of people over nothing, basically, right? Were you not already doing that?
Pacify, capitulate, or sidestep because I love them a whole lot more than I love you. And I will continue to do whatever is necessary to protect my children. Discussing the divorce any further on social media or on this show or in any public space is not what's best for them. I'll be handling this through the proper legal avenues and channels available as a matter.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to, like, discuss your personal stuff publicly. But when you find yourself in this type of situation where what you're going through is in direct contradiction to the values that you've espoused your entire life, you could, at the very least, come out and say, hey, I'm getting a divorce. Say it on Twitter if you want. Say it anywhere. Make the audience aware and say, it's not my choice. I'm not a fan of this, but that's what it is. Could at least do that, but no.
Divorce any further on social media or on this show or in any public space is not what's best for them. I'll be handling this through the proper legal avenues and channels available as a matter of record in which I have more than full confidence. So I'd ask that you...
So he's saying he has full confidence in the judicial system, I guess? Well, that makes sense. It favors men, so totally. Well, favors men in some situations. Favors rich men in many cases. Although, I'll be fair, it favors women in child custody and alimony hearings and child support hearings and stuff. So that's not fantastic. That's viewed as a men's rights issue. Really, it's a feminist issue also, because women shouldn't be viewed as the caretakers 24/7.
Matter of record in which I have more than full confidence. So I'd ask that you understand the need for and respect our privacy in what is obviously a pretty tough time. And I hope that none of this has to go any further than that. Now,
there's his implicit threat. I hope none of this has to go further than that. Leave my kids out of it. He's using them as a shield, and it's just disgusting and ridiculous.
Of time. And I hope that none of this has to go any further than that. Now, on with the reason you're all actually here.
Okay, so that was the opener to this. I was absolutely fascinated by that. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. The guy was very obviously using his kids as a shield through that entire thing to prevent anybody from talking about, his divorce or whatever. Just absurd on every level and disgusting.
I just said out of court. What was that, Nick? Did you spill something?
Did I?
I just saw you look down. Is it what?
No, I was trying to block that horrible sucking of your coffee.
Oh, okay. I think we'll do away with it. We can take a vote on it. And by the way, I think the view counter is working at Rumble. Yesterday it crashed again, so we'll talk about that today. A lot to get to. Biden, former Vice President Biden, re-announced his...
Former Vice President Biden. Isn't that fascinating? They refused to acknowledge that he was the president, even though he is the president actively, currently, right now. Just absurd, dude.
So we'll talk about that today. A lot to get to. Biden, former Vice President Biden, re-announced his re-announcing of his re-election. Yeah. The point is, no one cares. But we'll talk about it because he delivered a commie speech in which everything is verifiably false. You're seeing Don Lemon out. Yesterday, we actually, funny enough, scooped CNN.
We did.
Accidentally, that Tucker is out. And I will tell you this, it's not just about Tucker Carlson. You see the horrible attacks that took place on Matt Walsh. You see Dan Bongino leaving, apparently, obviously, unmutually.
Okay, if you're watching this 5 years in the future, let me give a little context to this. Tucker Carlson was fired from Fox News recently. Don Lemon was fired on the exact same day. And also, Matt Walsh, a person from the Daily Wire, was hacked. Like, his account was hacked. And, they did, a SIM card swap and social engineering out the wazoo. Is absolutely impressive, I have to say. Not that I stand for hacks. I'm not really a fan of hacking, but anyways, it was deeply impressive how they went about doing it.
Based on Matt Walsh, you see Dan Bongino leaving, apparently, obviously, on mutually okay terms. Mm-hmm. But there's been a shifting landscape in media. And my question to you is, you think that it's an accident? You think that there's a concerted effort at this point? You can comment below.
Do you think there's a concerted effort to what? I don't know. What are they talking about? A concerted effort to what? Because, Dan Bongino being kicked out, Matt Walsh being hacked, Tucker Carlson being kicked out, these are all just things that happen, Apparently, Fox News doesn't want Dan Bongino or Tucker Carlson at their network anymore. They're perfectly free to do that. I don't understand. What's the hang-up? Like, what are you trying to communicate? What's the coincidence here?
Sort of make the case. It's definitely been put into overdrive. DDoS attacks, of course, on Rumble. Yeah. You've seen so many things going on. And also, we're talking about the...
Okay. DDoS attacks happen constantly. Like, I've been DDoS'd before. This happens. It's just like a kind of a... You're sending request after request after request to a website in an attempt to kind of slow down their systems and make them vulnerable to attack. That's what a DDoS is, and it's super common.
The gay throuple.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, it's a gay throuple adopting a child. I don't want to let people know much more than that. Because I think that piques your interest. It's a show Monday through Friday, by the way, 10 a.m. Eastern. If you want to tune in, head on over to Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, it's live, 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't rely on notifications or any of that crap. All right, Gerald A. A lot of people don't know Gerald B. because you haven't.
Yeah, I think he has a deal with Rumble, I suspect, because he's always shouting out his Rumble. And I don't know. I think he's pretty big on Rumble, too. But I suspect that Rumble's activities are... what's the word I'm looking for here? They're kind of, I think that Rumble is lying about some of the metrics that they show publicly, but who knows?
And head on over to Rumble. If you're watching on YouTube, it's live, 10 a.m. Eastern. Don't rely on notifications or any of that crap. All right, Gerald A. A lot of people don't know Gerald B. because you haven't missed a day of work in a long time and been replaced.
Yeah, my son was born a year ago, and I missed some work, and all of a sudden I'm B.
Yes.
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
We got a fun show today.
It's one of the funnest shows, and we have the man who, I've referred to him as the GOAT for a very long time. If you have not seen his stand-up, I cannot recommend it enough. May 12th.
Who's he talking about? Like, is he just shouting out, like, random people? I don't care. Oh, Nick DiPaolo. Okay. He has a voice that is nearly identical to Bill Burr's. So I suspect his comedy is probably modeled after that. Very similar, at least. Anyway, I don't really care. Let me skip forward a little bit more. Okay.
Third seat. How do you think I feel?
Well, you know, you made the choice.
Yes, I did. A napkin is much easier.
Well, the truth. Have you never been here? We've replaced it. When he's not there, he's replaced with a blow-up doll.
And the ratings.
And we actually have a wig, and people prefer it.
Where do you keep that? And how do we get it to the hotel?
Believe me, we have plenty. I can give you a loaner.
Talking about a wig? He has a lot of wigs?
Just be sure to dry clean it.
Just pay the cleaning fee, Nick. Just pay the cleaning fee.
I don't know how that works. My aunt was talking to me. She's in here. She's from Wisconsin. She was talking to my dad, and Joe Louis couldn't go out in the back because it was muddy.
Yeah.
She goes, just let him go outside. And my dad goes, he's going to get all muddy. She says, put a tarp down. I said, yeah, like we have a tarp laying around. She goes, I got tarps all over.
Dude, I don't know what all this is. I'm just skipping because it's cringy and terrible.
Thing that you guys need to see in case you haven't been enraged enough the last 2 days. But this is a transgender couple. Well, ironically, creating sort of one of the more heterosexual videos. I know.
Unintentionally.
In a twist turn, but giving hormones to each other. And of course, this is beautiful and brave.
Okay, first of all, this is from TikTok. Steven Crowder is doing what's called the nut-picking fallacy. I talked about this not too long ago. I think it was in like the last part or the part before. I don't even know. But this is the nut-picking fallacy. What that means is nut-picking is the fallacious tactic of picking out and showcasing the nuttiest members of a group as the best representatives of that group, hence picking the nut. This fallacy is committed with when an arguer cherry-picks a poor representative of a group to use as an ad hominem against them. For example, anti-feminists frequently paint people who support feminism as feminazis by highlighting examples of ridiculous or cringeworthy behavior from select individuals, rather than critiquing points addressed in mainline feminist writings. So what Steven Crowder is doing here is called nut-picking. He's picking out some random couple on TikTok and pointing out that they're like doing hormones or some other, I don't even know. I have no idea. And why does Steven Crowder even care? This isn't, something that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez released. She isn't sitting there giving hormones to her significant other or something. This is completely irrelevant in his life and has nothing to do with public policy or how widespread, being trans is or anything in society. And for the record, these aren't even nuts. These seem like normal people so far. I haven't even watched the video, so I can't say if they're nuts or not. But this is a perfectly normal thing to do. Steven Crowder is just disgusted at the fact that society is not what it once was. Okay, I'm going to mute it because I don't know if the music is going to get me like a strike or something, but yeah, so they're about to give hormones. I guess you got to give it in in your hip, on your side? I don't know. Yeah, on your side, I suppose. Probably intramuscular. And and the other one takes a pill, I guess. And people are simply disgusted by that, apparently. Why? Why are they disgusted by that? Because they don't like anybody being different from them. They want complete homogeny, if at all possible. I mean, this is something they've openly spoken about. As a matter of fact, there's a guy named Elijah Schaffer who is close friends with Steven Crowder. As a matter of fact, they're on the same network. The Blaze. Well, I think Steven Crowder left The Blaze recently since his contract expired with them or whatever, but they were on the same network at the very least. This is Elijah Schaffer on the right. Again, fellow co-host with Steven Crowder, or colleague, I guess. He's a colleague of Steven Crowder's. They've worked together. They work at the same company. They get paid by the same people. Listen to what he had to say about living in a homogenous society.
This is the most racist thing I'll say all podcast. People think that Australia is great because it's an all-white country. And it's just, that's the only reason why it's good. And you can say that that's white supremacist. No, it's a homogenous group of people with less population than there is in California and a landmass bigger than the United States. They get along, they don't commit crime, they're clean, and they have a common group.
Okay, so what he's saying is having a common group or having homogeny in society, being homogenous, meaning basically living in an ethno-state is what it means. Everybody is white in this country, in, I don't know, Denmark or whatever. Everybody, every single person is white. Almost no racial diversity. That means there's no conflict in that society whatsoever, according to him. Again, he's close friends with Steven Crowder. They work for the same company. Well, not anymore. Again, I think Elijah Schaffer was fired, and I think Steven Crowder left The Blaze. So, yeah, take that for what you will. But they, at the very least, did work for the same company at the same time together. They hold the same views and ideas. And as someone rightly pointed out, yeah, Australia has indigenous people. That's absolutely right. They're aboriginals, right? They've been there for 50,000 years or something like that.
Multiculturalism is gay. It sucks. It's stupid. It doesn't work. It never has worked. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. But they have a country. It's homogenous. So everyone thinks because it's a monoculture that it's this really balanced society that's it's just not violent. It's not trash and everyone's wealthy. It's actually true. But
no, it isn't true, actually. That's false. That's incorrect.
Their politics are fucked.
Absurd on every level. Dude seems to be endorsing ethno-states here, right? You know why? Because within conservative ideals, you would live in an ethno-state. That's the idea here. You want to be in a completely homogenous society that doesn't deviate from itself or from other members of that society in any way. As a matter of fact, there's something called the F scale. There's a personality test written in 1947, immediately after World War II, to determine if somebody was more likely to work with Hitler or to be sympathetic to his goals. I mean, let's just look through some of the options on the list here, some of the criteria that determine if somebody was going to be likely to be a member of the Axis powers. Conventionalism, conformity to the traditional societal norms and values of the middle class. So conservatism, basically. Traditionalism, conservatism, homogeny, being part of one group rather than recognizing diversity or differences in each other. Religion and ethics, being overly obsessed with them. Superstition, being obsessed with power and toughness. Anti-introception, i.e., rejection of all inwardness, of the subjective, the imaginative, the tender-minded, self-criticism. Exaggerated concern with sexual goings-on, that's on the list too. I mean, any of this sounding familiar right now? Who gives a shit what these people are doing in their lives? Who cares? Why does Steven Crowder care? They're doing their own thing, living their own life, and that's all that should really matter, right? Let them live their lives.
I don't even know what that is on the left. I'm serious.
Well, here's the thing.
Well, now I do.
It's meant to play on your, emotional strings, and this is not. These people do.
Well, he's pretending it's propaganda. No, it's just some people living their lives and showing what they're doing. This isn't propaganda.
Here's the thing.
Well,
Obviously,
now I do.
It's meant to play on your, emotional strings, and this is not. These people do this. This is not actually the first attempt.
not,
they
yeah.
tried it initially with a different song, but it was struck for copyright.
Somewhere over the dildo.
Now, that's
Oh my God, dude. Why? Why is he the way that he is? I can't believe he said that on YouTube.
Oh, for the love of God.
Yeah.
I don't like that type of talk. Clean it up, huh, Steven? This is PG-13 light.
I know Nick always goes. He goes, "What? You're getting mad at me because I said you did? That's the darkest shit I've ever seen in my life."
You know what 13-year-old kids are exposed to on the internet?
That's true.
That standard has to change.
Yeah, I guess.
A little bit.
But anyways,
I don't even know what it means, but
me either.
hey, it's beautiful, isn't it? It's wonderful. We're all supposed to just say, "Yeah, isn't that beautiful?" What's beautiful about injecting your spouse with a hormone that's foreign to their body?
Oh, well, it's kind of funny he says that. I mean, people inject hormones into themselves all the time for perfectly valid medical reasons. For example, a cancer patient will inject testosterone into their body because they have a shortage of it. Or, weightlifters, or hell, you can just be low on testosterone or estrogen or whatever, and a doctor will prescribe it to you. This is not that crazy or unusual. Foreign to your body. So you're saying anything that's foreign to your body should not be in your body. Is that what you're telling me, Steven? I mean, there are a number of directions I could go with this. Do I need to?
Correct me if I'm wrong. There was a girl that became a guy and a guy that became a girl.
I can't correct you because I don't know.
Yeah, nobody.
Yeah, who cares? Why are you trying to, analyze this? Why are you obsessed with knowing anything about these people like that? Like, why do you care at all? Just absurd on every level.
He does.
That's
Science.
The point is, whatever's being injected, if they're a man and it's estrogen, cancer.
It's bad.
If they're a woman and it's testosterone, who knows, possibly cancer. Definitely some roid rage.
Yeah.
So I guess he's saying that that testosterone is bad, right? That it causes problems for people. Like, it's better that people just not have testosterone at all.
Okay. And no sex.
Well, I don't know.
Well, I mean,
Why are you saying that?
well, if he that became a she committed, then there's no sexual things down there to have sexy stuff.
I don't know. They're not monks.
That's
Fair.
the thing. We don't know how far they go, a lot of these people.
It's true.
Yeah, why are they obsessed with the sexual goings-on of these random people? Why are they overanalyzing this? Why are they thinking about this? They were not, invited into that part of these people's lives, and they are spreading this stuff out to millions of people. These speculations and ideas. This is just disgusting, dude.
You don't. Well, over 90% don't go through the bottom half. At least they didn't until before.
Emily Neptune, taking testosterone causes roid rage. WTFT is not steroids. That's true. They are different. Although testosterone is used as a steroid sometimes, as like a weightlifting thing, and it does cause, or can at the very least cause, anger and violence. Right? Doesn't testosterone boost violent behavior dramatically? I don't even remember. It's been a while since I looked into this.
They go, a lot of these people.
It's true. You don't. Well, over 90% don't go through the bottom half. At least they didn't until before, and most of them just put on a dress. And they say they're barely passable, and by that they mean you're not passable.
Again, that's why I love Caitlyn Jenner. That's Bruce Jenner in a dress busting my balls. Big hairy forearms.
This is just wrong, dude. Why are they like this? What happened to that? When I was in elementary school, I remember teachers used to say, be nice to the other kids. You got to be nice. Treat everybody equally because everybody is an equal to you, right? Did they not go through that? Were they in private school and their parents said, be mean intentionally? What happened? How did they end up here in life where they sit here and say things like this? I don't get it. And it's not even for a purpose. It's not even funny at all. He just said Caitlyn Jenner is just a guy in a dress, basically. What's funny? I don't understand. Is there a joke in there somewhere? Because they started laughing when he said that, right? What am I missing?
Sound clip that for Nick next time he's on. I love Caitlyn Jenner. We'll use that whenever it's.
I do. The fact that
Welcome to my world.
She
Nick.
set world records, broke that glass ceiling in the male decathlon.
And she said, if you're not laughing at me now, when you were a fan of mine when I was a right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
So Steven Crowder is propagandizing here, if you notice. Let me just step back. Listen again.
That if you're not laughing,
My world.
She
Nick.
used that when world records, broke that glass ceiling in the male decathlon.
Saying that Caitlyn Jenner broke world records. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner was an Olympian long and long ago, long before coming out as trans. And eventually, when finally coming out as trans, started taking hormones and, you know, the whole 9 yards. When competing, Caitlyn Jenner was not presenting as or taking hormones of or whatever of a woman. That he's just like propagandizing to try to own people on this point again. It's just absurd.
and she said, if you're not laughing at me now, when you were a fan of mine when I was a right?
Yeah.
Remember that? She said, you're crazy.
I think she said, if you're not laughing at me now.
I don't get it. Is there a joke in here somewhere? I'm trying to connect the dots on this, but I'm just like lost.
All right, you pumpkin pie haircutted freak. So,
How's that?
Dumb and Dumber.
I think so.
Oh,
It's Harlan Williams.
yes. How's that
Pumpkin
going?
pie. You'd keep your mouth shut if you knew it was good for you, buddy boy.
How's it going?
Am I missing a joke? Is there like a hidden joke here from like an old movie that I just haven't seen since I was a kid or what? I don't know.
Snowball.
That's a good Harlan Williams. He's a national hero in Canada.
I love him.
Hey, by the way, if you're watching today, you know, it's the end of Free Mug Club month, and as I'm sure you can imagine, expensive to keep this up and
Yeah.
bring on people like Nick. That intro doesn't just happen. Click the button if you're watching on Rumble today. There's a button right there. You just go, boom, click it, and you get to continue watching for the remaining hour. Okay.
Do it.
So this one is right up Gerald's alley.
Why is
because,
that?
Well, because, you know, you're
Sounds
informed.
dirty.
Is
On
it
this.
sports?
This morning at 6 a.m. Eastern, Joe Biden, because that's when you announce important news.
Well, that's when he's halfway through his day. So.
Yes, exactly.
Well, he's taking his 40th piss.
Yes, he did. He tweeted this from Bob Evans.
Oh, you hit send, Joe.
What? I don't get it. Joe Biden likes to get up early. Is that the joke? What's the joke?
This morning, former Vice President Joe Biden, respect the office, former Vice President Joe Biden announced
Again, refusing to acknowledge that he's the president right now, even though he very obviously is. But okay.
this morning, former Vice President Joe Biden, respect
God, these people are snowflakes, aren't they? It's absurd. Like, can you get over yourself and accept the fact that you lost the election? You know what? I had to deal with the fact that Bernie Sanders lost the election in 2016, the primary, and then Hillary lost eventually too. I had to deal with that fact. If I have to deal with that fact, then you can deal with it too. Get over yourself. Seriously.
the office, former Vice President Joe Biden, announced on Twitter that he would be running for re-election. And this is going to be a bit of a longer clip because we will go through it point by point, dissecting claim and truth. He announced his new campaign in video format.
Yeah, they tend to like modify videos and lie about things, so be skeptical about everything you see here.
Would a Michael Bay do this?
In a world.
Freedom,
That's right, they don't have the Transformers.
personal freedom, is fundamental to who we are as Americans.
When he said freedom, he just undid his belt buckle.
Yes.
That's been the work of my first term, to fight for our democracy,
This shouldn't be a red or blue issue.
to protect our rights, to make sure that everyone in this country is treated equally and that everyone is given a fair shot at making it.
Liar!
Bookmark it. We'll get
But
back
you
to
know,
it.
around the country, MAGA extremists are lining up to take on those
Megger.
bedrock freedoms.
Yeah, Megger.
Cutting Social Security, that you
Dumpster
paid
Megger.
for your entire life, while cutting
Vodka
taxes
and
for the
tonic.
very wealthy, dictating what health care decisions women can make, banning books, and telling people who they can love, all while making it more difficult for you to be able to vote.
Should be able to shower your daughter.
Yes.
What is he talking about, dude? He's espousing some I don't know if you heard what he said. I think he said should be able to shower with your daughter or something like that. He's espousing some conspiracy theories, some anti-Joe Biden conspiracy theories. basically, Project Veritas claimed to have stolen Joe Biden's daughter's diary, Ashley Biden's diary. You ever notice that they never talk about Joe Biden's daughter's diary? That's probably because, in my opinion, I suspect that it's completely faked. And they got in a whole bunch of trouble for claiming that they found all this stuff in it. They can't stop talking about Hunter's laptop, but they won't say a word about Ashley Biden's diary. That's interesting, isn't it? I think it was all made up, and they were about to get in some real shit for defamation and stuff if they didn't stop. That's my guess. But anyways, that's a throwback to Ashley Biden's diary, or the claim that was in Ashley Biden's diary that Joe Biden was like attacking her basically or whatever. Again, no evidence for this. It's completely made up, all of it.
And everybody else's daughter, apparently.
Yeah,
Apparently.
what a dick.
His freedom
what a
involves
jerk.
nasal
When I
decongestant.
ran for president 4 years ago,
And
I said we're in a battle for the soul of America, and we still are. The question we're facing is whether in the years ahead we have more freedom or less freedom. More rights or fewer.
he's the freedom guy.
Unbelievable.
He's the freedom guy.
I am my blood pressure.
I know. I
This
know.
is
I can
not a
see it.
time
It's
to
like
be
BB King
complacent.
right before he died.
Dude, I can't understand what Biden is saying or what these people are saying either because they keep talking over it. My God, dude, just shut up and watch it or pause it and talk. Make your stupid jokes in between. Like, I don't... All right, let's just keep listening.
That's why I'm running for re-election.
I don't know.
Why could it be BB King?
Dude, what are they even talking about? They made jokes in the middle of this stupid... These people drive me nuts. All right, let's try to tune out Joe Biden for a second and listen to the jokes that they were making.
Unbelievable.
He's the freedom guy.
I am my blood pressure.
I know. I
This
know.
is
I can
not a
see it.
time
It's
to
like
be
BB King
complacent.
right before he died.
Okay, so the guy made a terrible joke about BB King dying. Why are they like this? How did they get like this? How did this happen? I want to know.
That's why I'm running for re-election.
I don't know.
Why could it be BB King?
Diabetes.
One of my favorite moments, by the way, before we move on to the claims of the truth, one of my favorite moments in the history of this show is yesterday. Nick got so mad. I don't remember if it was Joy Reid.
Oh, I
that he
couldn't
just
talk.
went, "Oh, nice hairdo." I can't even. Like,
I know.
you were
Went back to
complete-
open mic.
You were so angry. But here's the thing. Let's go through this. Okay, let's go through this point by point. The claims that he makes. Here's a claim that former Vice President Joe Biden makes in there, that freedom is integral to Biden's ethos. First off, click like if you're watching on YouTube right now, and you know that everything that guy just said is bullshit. Okay.
Okay, well, I suppose he did make a claim that, you know, he's trying to get freedom. He's fighting for freedom. Okay.
Because here's the truth. Yeah, Joe Biden, former vice president, is all about freedom unless you want to start a business, of course, because he added regulations that are unprecedented. Or if you
Okay, hold on. Let's just step back. Let's look at this. Let's look closely.
is all about freedom unless you want to start a business, of course, because he added
Let's see. Biden, where is this from? Bloomberg? Is this even real? Let's see. Let's look this up. Let's find out if this is real or completely fabricated. How Biden has made policy with short-term costly rules? What he's doing right now is called the fire hose of falsehoods. And he's also doing something called gish galloping. Well, this is probably gish galloping, not fire hose propaganda. But gish galloping is throwing out a bunch of claims back to back to back without giving you an opportunity to fact check them or read it yourself. He flipped this up for, 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds. Let's see what it says here. How Biden's made policy with short-term costly rules. Okay, this is Bloomberg Law, not Bloomberg. Is that what it says? No, it just says Bloomberg. They're two separate things, but all right. Biden relied on short-term regulations with significant economic impact to achieve key policy aims in the first year of his presidency. Even as federal judges ruled he didn't have the power to write those rules. What even is this? Like, I've never heard of this website. Let's look up Media Bias Fact Check. Let's just look up Bloomberg Law. What is Bloomberg Law? Is it owned by the same company? Hold on. Search. I don't... Why... there's seemingly no like media rating for Bloomberg Law. Apparently, like this website doesn't seem to exist or something like within the media ecosystem. Yeah, I can't find this listed anywhere as far as like, media bias ratings go. Let's check all sides. What the hell is Bloomberg Law? I've never heard of this before. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but Steven Crowder claims it's from Bloomberg. It is not from Bloomberg. It's from Bloomberg Law. Maybe they're the same company. That's possible. Could be. In fact, hell, I would even go as far as to say maybe that's likely. But I can't seem to find a single thing about this website or this company anywhere. I have no idea what Bloomberg Law is. And for the record, a lot of people have the last name Bloomberg. Anybody have insight into this in the comments? Bloomberg Law appears to be a data research company. So maybe there's a different company with the same name? Yeah, that could be. Following is from Wikipedia. Bloomberg Law is a subscription-based service that uses data analytics and artificial intelligence for online legal research. Okay. Interesting. So it sounds like they were analyzing it from like a legal analysis perspective. Like, how did these, how did these policies affect, various different things? Now, he says that this affects small businesses. He approved 19, this is supposedly a quote from Bloomberg Law. This is in Steven Crowder's video. Without a working majority in Congress, President turned to temporary rules to rapidly meet his pandemic goals. In particular, he approved 19 temporary rules, a total that exceeded even his regulation-friendly former boss, Barack Obama. If it really says regulation-friendly former boss, this is editorializing. It's this is bias. This website is very clearly biased, if that's true. It does. Sure enough, it says it. I mean, just the verbiage that they're using in this is very obviously biased. I wouldn't expect language like this about Trump either in a reliable, trustworthy news source. Yeah, it's commentary, it appears. Owned by Michael Bloomberg and Bank of America. Okay. Yeah, this is commentary. Seems clear as day. This is not a trustworthy source, but okay, let's keep listening. I want to check every one of these. I don't want him to get away with any propaganda here.
Now, and you know that everything that guy just said is bullshit. Okay. Because here's the truth. Yeah, Joe Biden, former vice president, is all about freedom unless you want to start a business, of course, because he added regulations that are unprecedented. Or
okay, I don't know that that's even true. He has not proven that, and he popped that up for half a second. And also, we were trying to make our way out of a pandemic. So naturally, it's going to include more regulations. That's obvious, it seems to me.
And you know that everything that guy just said is bullshit. Okay. Because here's the truth. Yeah, Joe Biden, former vice president, is all about freedom unless you want to start a business, of course, because he added regulations that are unprecedented. Or if you want to protect yourself or your family with a firearm, or if you believe in parental...
Okay, now hold on. Let just one at a time. You shouldn't be protecting yourself with a firearm under any circumstances, okay? Yeah, it may seem like a good idea in the moment, but guess what happens? Think about this. Kyle Rittenhouse arguably shouldn't have been there in the first place. Arguably should have been put in jail for what he did, right? But it was ruled self-defense, what Kyle Rittenhouse did. If you're not familiar with that, he was at a protest with an AR-15, and somebody ran at him, and he pulled the trigger and killed a bunch of people. Or maybe one person, maybe three people, I don't remember. Anyways, do you really want to be in the type of situation where the legal system has to litigate every split-second decision that you made over the next 15 years, 10, 5 years? Kyle Rittenhouse isn't even out of the water right now. You may save, yourself from being attacked or whatever. That's possible. But do you really want to let the legal system work all of that out? Trust me, you shouldn't be using a gun for self-defense. That's absurd. Oh, and also, Joe Biden did almost nothing with gun reform anyways. He has basically just spoken out against guns being widespread the way that they are right now. That's not hindering anybody's freedom.
start a business, of course, because he added regulations that are unprecedented. Or if you want to protect yourself or your family with a firearm, or if you believe in parental rights and you don't want to transition your children, or...
Wait, if you believe in parental rights and you don't want to transition your children, then Biden is the bad person because he's going to force you to transition your children? Is that what he's saying? Everyone's going to be forced to transition their children no matter what.
Yourself or your family with a firearm, or if you believe in parental rights and you don't want to transition your children, or, of course, if you believe that you should be able to drive a car that uses the evil fossil fuel. So outside...
Like, no one is stopping you from driving a fossil fuel car. I mean, Biden has a Corvette, right? So, yeah, all of this is just completely made up. I have to address every single one of these. I can't just let this go.
Outside of that, he's all about freedom. Also, if your credit score is a little too high, you're going to be punished for it. So it's freedom.
What? Credit score a little bit too high? What? What are you talking about? How are you going to be punished for having a high credit score? Wouldn't you think that these conservative types would be against credit scores in the first place? They're against social credit scores, or they purport to be. Credit scores are bad, in my opinion. Why is it that they don't view them as bad in this one very specific situation?
Understand that freedom means it's not. Right. Did I miss anything?
I think.
Yeah, you missed a lot. And everything that he said was complete nonsense. And the sources that he quoted, let's see, at the very least, deceptively quoted. In some cases, they weren't even the correct sources. Like he said, this is Bloomberg. This is not Bloomberg, although it is owned by Bloomberg, apparently. Let's see. President Biden on Saturday signed the most sweeping gun violence bill in decades, a bipartisan compromise that seemed unimaginable until a recent series of attacks, including the massacre of 19 students, 2 teachers at a Texas elementary school. And Steven Crowder is speaking out against this. This is bad in his mind. And it isn't even like he didn't even do that much. He didn't even push, gun reforms that we need. It was the most basic, bottom of the barrel changes.
If you believe in parental rights and you don't want to transition your children.
Okay, Biden signs order to protect transgender children as Texas continues efforts to restrict gender-affirming care. So the Biden administration was allegedly, I haven't even read the bill, is giving kids the option to do what they want and live their lives. And Steven Crowder is, once again, trying to force other people to allow them to impose his will upon them. He wants to control everything and seemingly believes it's wrong if people are allowed to make their own decisions in their lives. I don't know if you saw the opener to this, but Steven Crowder, in the very beginning of this episode that he released, talked about how wrong it is that his wife is allowed to divorce him without his permission. Seriously, it's the same mindset. Absurd.
Or, of course, if you believe that you should be able to drive a car that uses the evil fossil fuel. So outside of that, he's all about freedom. Also, if your credit score is a little too high, you're going to be punished for it. So it's freedom if you understand that freedom means it's not. Right.
That makes no sense.
Did I miss anything?
I think you covered just about all of that.
All right.
Yeah.
You can always jump in, Gerald, if you have anything you need to
Yeah.
I thought you had a point there. No? Okay. No. Here's another claim. I'm looking at you for this one, Gerald A.
My bad.
We're going to downgrade you to C. Gerald! Biden says that he was fighting for democracy, or he has been fighting for democracy, former Vice President Biden. Okay. Here's the truth. And all of these references are made publicly available so that you can fact check us. He signed...
Well, I just fact check. I don't even need to see the references. Like, he's simply wrong on all of this stuff.
All of these references are made publicly available so that you can fact check us. He signed 22 executive orders in the first week, the most since the 1970s.
The majority of those, this is a good point to jump in, the majority of those were actually just to undo Trump.
Right.
All the stuff that Trump did. First one, Keystone XL pipeline. So if you want to be energy independent, he's not so much your guy.
Well,
that's completely incorrect. Biden is pushing energy independence through green energy. This is like the best idea that we've had in who knows how generations, to go energy independent through green energy. Oh my God. Why are we powering the world on fossil fuels? Like, this is so stupid. We're building wind turbines. We are building solar infrastructure and all this other stuff. Not only is it good for the planet, but it's good for national security. We are currently dependent on other countries for our energy. We buy barrels of oil from other countries. Why? Why are we doing that? We don't need to do that. We're perfectly capable of supplying our own energy across the board in the United States. Why are we depending on others like this? This is absurd. Hell, if you want, build out green energy, a green energy grid, and then sell the oil you're digging up if you really want to. National security and economy boost. It's absurd that anybody would be opposed to this. The only reason you're opposed to this is because Democrats are for it. That's it.
Trump did. First one, Keystone XL pipeline. So if you want to be energy independent, he's not so much your guy.
Well, you're also free to pay.
No, he is very much my guy if I want to be energy independent. Why are we using fossil fuels? This is absurd.
Keystone XL pipeline. So if you want to be energy independent, he's not so much your guy.
Well, you're also free to pay, twice the amount for gas.
That's a freedom.
Yeah.
Free to pay more for everything.
I mean, it's free.
Okay, Biden doesn't control gas. He doesn't control the gas prices. He doesn't have like a dial on his desk that he can spin to make it more or less expensive. It's absurd. And if you want gas to be less expensive, we can stop using gas or fossil fuels or whatever on our energy grid and switch over to electric vehicles. There are a billion ways to make this better. The more people, look, even if you don't want to switch to an electric vehicle, fine. You want to keep your fossil fuel powered car, okay. But everybody else, you should be encouraging them to switch, right? Because the fewer people using fossil fuels to power their car, the lower the gas prices are going to be, because less demand means lower prices. Why are you complaining about Biden trying to encourage electric car use when it would benefit you in every way? There is no downside for you if you want to use an electric vehicle. I just don't get the logic here. It's absurd.
Freedom if you don't actually if you don't use the definition of freedom. It's just we're changing them, like male, female. It's not a thing anymore. Okay. And I think if the research team can grab...
Okay, male and female are still very much a thing.
It's just we're changing them, like male, female. It's not a thing anymore. Okay. And I think if the research team can grab it, I think he did 100. He signed 160 in his first year.
It was about 160 in the first year, so we wanted to have a good comparison for you.
Yeah, compared to Obama and Trump, I think it was...
Obama's 35 and Trump 35 was like 55
was
in his
55.
first year. Yeah, so
that's... I'm not a math Asian, but 3 times as many...
A math Asian? He is not a math Asian? What does that mean? Why is he like this? It's like he's racist just for the sake of being racist, just because he can. He wants to be, so he will be. What happened to him as a child? How did this person come to be? I must know.
It was like 55
was
in his
55.
first year. Yeah, so
that's... I'm not a math Asian, but 3 times as many?
That is 3 times, but I think the key point that they made here was that typically in the first week, you may get 1, 2, 3 of these. 22.
Yeah.
The first thing he did when he walked into the Oval Office essentially was revoke the Keystone Pipeline approval.
Yeah, and half of them involved toddler scratch and sniffs. He doesn't even, like, the executive orders have... It's almost like they have nothing to do with policy.
7 of the...
What? They have nothing to do with policy? Some of them do, some of them don't. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to do, or it doesn't have to pertain to policy. What is he talking about here?
Exactly. They were banning kids from the Oval Office, which he repealed immediately.
But I don't know. I don't have a degree in political science, so don't take my word for it.
So then he blew something up. He banned the pipeline.
Yeah, exactly. That. No. Allegedly. We have no idea who did that.
No, you're actually right.
Dude, what are they talking about right now? Like, this is just a confusing train wreck, all of it. Are they saying that Biden blew up the Nord Stream pipeline? Do they know the difference between Nord Stream and Keystone? What are they talking about, man? Racist as a sport. Yeah, absolutely. Seems to be like his whole bit.
Yeah, Nord Stream blew itself up.
Jacques Cousteau's ghost.
Okay, so they are talking about Nord Stream. Okay, Keystone is in America. Nord Stream is in Europe. What does Nord Stream have to do with anything? What are they talking about? And the U.S. did not blow up Nord Stream. Apparently, the U.S. released intelligence recently that implies that maybe it was Ukraine that blew up the pipeline, but we don't know for sure.
He was looking for the spotted octopus or something.
There's a pipeline.
Yeah. What's this? Energy independence? Not on my watch.
I don't like. I feel like their jokes are all built on like inside jokes and make no sense to anybody who hasn't like been brainwashed into their belief system.
Jesse Ventura was there. I was in an underwater demolition unit. Fine.
Thanks, Jesse. I won't question you. I'll get
God.
Here's another claim that he makes in his video that he wants to.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Jesse Ventura. Like, I have no idea what this has to do with anything, honestly. But Jesse Ventura apparently says he was in an underwater demolition unit. Was he in the military? That's what the Marines started out as, I believe. Like the Navy SEALs. I'm sorry, Navy SEALs. That's what I meant to say. They're a branch of the Navy that were tasked with going in and detonating bombs ahead of time and clearing pathways and kind of scoping things out ahead of time. That's what the Navy SEALs were supposed to be originally. I'm sorry. I didn't mean Marines. I meant Navy SEALs. Is that what they're talking about? I'm like so lost.
In an underwater demolition unit. Fine.
Thanks, Jesse. I won't question you. I'll get
God.
Jesse Ventura is actually on point with some stuff. I think he's a libertarian, but he's got some really good ideas.
Here's another claim that he makes in his video that...
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm going to keep pausing. I'm going to step back and just cut this whole bit out. Jesse Ventura, to my knowledge, is like an ex-wrestler, and I think he's like the governor of some state up north, Minnesota maybe. I don't know. And like I said, he had some fantastic ideas, and then some of them were bad.
I was in an underwater demolition unit. Fine.
Thanks, Jesse. I won't question you. I'll get
God.
Here's another claim that he makes in his video that he wants to make sure everyone is treated equally.
Oh, boy.
Is anyone buying this? I mean, I'm at the point where... Nope. Is anyone buying this? If you're watching on Rumble, smash...
Okay, you can't possibly disagree with the fact that Biden wants people to be treated equally. I mean, Steven Crowder, through this whole thing, has established the fact that he does not want people to be treated equally, right? He does not want women to be able to make a decision about leaving a marriage, make their own decision. That is unequal treatment in the eyes of the law. That's what Steven Crowder advocates for, unequal treatment. So I don't like, yeah, obviously Biden would be opposed to that. Why are you even arguing this right now?
Smash the Rumble button here. And you can comment below. Does this actually work with anybody? Because here's the thing. If you look at the Democratic voters, they're not demanding more freedom or choice. This is, as I've said, the left. Biden, Democrats always have to run as centrists. They always have to present as centrists in order to be elected. Contrast that with the right. If you look at even the primary right now, DeSantis, you look at Trump, they have to present themselves to be as conservative as possible and do the same in a general election. Otherwise, they stand no chance at winning. One side.
Okay, wow, that's really interesting. I think that I don't think that's a very good analysis. I think that analysis is garbage, honestly. I don't feel like getting into why at this immediate moment, but I will say that Biden is not like left-leaning in any way. He's not left-leaning when he campaigns, and he's not left-leaning when he governs either. That's complete nonsense in every way. He's no Bernie Sanders, but they want to portray him as one. So they'll claim that Biden is, you know, to the left of everybody, basically. They'll claim Biden's to the left. And when they hear him say centrist things or, you know, maybe even a little bit right-leaning stuff, they claim that the dude is trying to pretend to be in the center so that people, you know, will vote for him, basically. That's their excuse for why he's saying something that's not cohesive with their already existing beliefs about him. Now, he's just not on the left, really. Biden isn't, is all.
Is actually incentivized to deceive you. So he says he wants to make sure that everyone is treated equally. Okay, here's the truth. Former Vice President Biden's Justice Department, right?
Okay, I bet anything he's going to pretend that white people are persecuted or men or, I don't know, Christians or whatever. He's going to, by the way, that's a KKK talking point, that white people or Christians are persecuted.
Former Vice President Biden's Justice Department, right? It urged the Supreme Court to drop the affirmative action case against Harvard from Asian Americans, where, Asians said, hey, Harvard told us we're full up. Too many of you deservingly are scoring off the charts, and we're going to reject you from the schools because affirmative action, unfortunately, bit them in the ass when Asians who come from strong family households who value studying hard, getting good grades.
Okay, so now we can hear him talking about affirmative action, right? Let me show you something now. Now that we've heard him establish that he is opposed to affirmative action because it discriminates against white people, among others. This is a Grand Wizard of the KKK in 1982 giving an interview with CNN. Listen to what the KKK Grand Wizard said all the way back in 1982 about affirmative action and see how that jives with what Steven Crowder is saying.
I want to finish what I was saying. We feel that affirmative action is discriminating against white people, and there is no question about it. Two wrongs don't make a right. Because black people were hurt and discriminated against in the past does not justify the discrimination against white people now. And we're asking for an end to that.
Look, of course, it's completely made up. That's not what affirmative action is. That's not how affirmative action works. That's a misrepresentation to the highest degree of the policy, of the ideal, of the thing it's trying to accomplish, but the KKK had a vested interest in warping that goal, in warping what affirmative action was intended to do. Of course. And this is all the way back in 1982, and now Steven Crowder is repeating those talking points. The Republican Party of today is the KKK of yesterday. Seriously. So now let's listen to what Steven Crowder had to say about affirmative action.
When Asians who come from strong family households who value studying hard, getting good grades, they were being denied entry. They were being discriminated against based on their race. Then Biden said, no, let's keep that going.
Let's keep you Asians out of higher education. And then they blame us for...
It's completely made up. That's not what was happening. They will always find some way to propagandize and make equality out to be the bad road. There is no good way to equality, in their opinion. We just have to keep things the way that they are.
Saying that we are promoting hate towards Asians. I'm like, you literally want them to have a worse life because they don't get the education they deserve.
Isn't it
completely made up entirely?
Freeing to just be consistent, to say, yeah, that's a meritocracy. I don't care if you're Asian, if you're black, if you're white, you get the best grades, you get going to college. They have to say, no, but if you're black, but if you're Asian, but...
Okay, well, you know what? Since he's bringing this up, let's talk about it. He says we should live in a complete meritocracy where if you're black and you can succeed in whatever, taking tests or whatever else, then you should be allowed into this college. That's what affirmative action is. It's a college admissions thing that encourages colleges to weight admissions in the direction of societal representation. So if your college has 4% black people, then they should be bringing in more black people if possible until we reach about 14.3%. They want it to be representative of society, which would be right. That's the right way to do it. That's the correct thing to do, right? There are a number of reasons why society or these colleges don't have an exact fair representation of the black community. And none of those things may be racism. It may be any number of other factors. You know, it's like from the founding of the country, it's like we had white people going around the monopoly board and passing go for decades and decades and decades. And just 50, 70 maybe years ago, black people were just now allowed to start passing the go, or were allowed to start passing go and collecting money and buying properties. Up until 1965, black people weren't even allowed to attend the same schools as white people, okay? And up until the 80s or 90s, black people were still societally pushed out of everything. And even now, we can see college admissions tend to favor white people rather than black people, even when those black people have the exact same qualifications or merits or whatever as the white people. A black-sounding name is picked less often for job interviews or college admissions or whatever other thing. Even if there isn't a racist bone in your body, even if there isn't an active racist actor in the system, there is still a racist outcome that you can measure. And affirmative action is intended to counteract that racist outcome. There is no reason why black people should make up 4% of a college's admissions. No reason for that. So affirmative action set out to correct it. And of course, Steven Crowder's calling that racist because that's what the KKK was saying back in the day.
If you're Asian, if you're black, if you're white, you get the best grades, you get going to college. They have to say, no. But if you're black, but if you're Asian, but not if you're too Asian. If you do too well as an Asian, it can never be consistent because progress for progress' sake has to self-destruct.
I don't even know what that means. That sounds like a platitude. It's just nonsense. Progress for progress's sake self-destructs? What does that mean? Somebody fill me in here in the comments, please. I'm just lost. What does he mean by progress for progress's sake self-destructs? It's complete garbage.
It can never be consistent because progress for progress' sake has to self-destruct.
Are we the only ones seeing these inconsistencies? You want me to believe
No, the KKK sees these as inconsistencies also, for what it's worth. So you're not the only one.
The rest of the country is that stupid?
No.
And if they are, they always shit on Trump supporters.
Yeah.
How about people who support this shit?
Well, you know
what? This poop. What is it, 8 o'clock?
This caca. Shit. I've said it several times.
Spanish for, come on, that's not better.
Yeah. I don't know, is it?
Supporting this feces.
The Romance languages. I don't know where it comes from.
This still Sam.
No, but you know what? It's a good point. And here's sort of a contrast. People on the right expect some kind of truth from their candidates. People on the left, they know that. Do you think any Democrat voters actually buy this? Do you think that they're voting for?
I don't know.
I don't think Democrat voters want it.
Steve,
I think this is
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, the younger kids are so they've been marinating in this crap.
Yeah, but they don't vote.
Marinating in equality. That's what they're saying. Marinating in equality. How wrong is that, huh? I'm sorry. You know who's been marinating in things? These guys have been marinating in KKK talking points. These are literally exact quotes from the KKK in the 1980s. And how do they justify it? Well, who cares? That's how they view it. Who cares? I just, I'll say what I want. I'll believe what I want. I'll think what I want. I don't like black people. And I don't want black people in my colleges, so I'm going to stand against affirmative action. Who gives a shit? That seems to be their position.
In mass.
They don't vote enough.
People do, right? So when they do something like this, they're like, oh, here's what happens. Oh, they must know better than I do. It's social engineering.
Yeah.
Asian hate from the left, so we have to support Asians in just about every single thing they do, unless we talk about black on Asian crime, and then we have to stand out of the way because that's the other minority Olympic game, oppression Olympics that we have to play. And then,
by the way, in minority Olympics, the blacks always win.
They do, yes. It wouldn't
in actual Olympics, I should say. In minority Olympics, the trans win, but in actual Olympics,
oppression Olympics, on the other hand,
it's just better than the black guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so what they're saying here is that black people are physically different than white people. They're saying that they're physically altered. They're physically stronger or faster or whatever. Because, here's their reasoning, because they were bred as slaves to be strong. Seriously. Does it get more depraved than this? The KKK is open now. The KKK is out and about and open with their beliefs at this point. There was a time in U.S. history when the KKK had to hide because they were so disliked. There was a point in U.S. history, 100, 200 years ago when the KKK ran towns. Eventually, younger generations saw how absolutely grotesque and evil the KKK was and the things that they did, and they pushed them out of positions of power, disgusted with what they do. And in response, the KKK decided to integrate themselves into the Republican Party. The Republican Party of today is the KKK of yesterday. They no longer have to hide their talking points. I'm honestly surprised that KKK membership has not gone up dramatically in recent years. Hell, maybe it did, and I haven't seen the numbers. This is exactly what the KKK believes and what they want people to hear, what we're listening to right now.
Unless it's World's Strongest Man, then it's Iceland. Go ahead.
But then they do the school thing and they go, oh, well, they must know best. Of course, we don't want just Asians to go to this. We need diversity, not diversity of thought, diversity of skin color.
No, we need a roughly representative number of people in this school, representative of society. If there are 14% black people in society, or even in this town, we should have 14% black people in the college. That's the idea.
I think this is the unwritten agreement between former Vice President Biden and his voter base is going, you know that I don't really mean this, but I have to appeal to the middle enough to win an election. Whereas, again, with Donald Trump or DeSantis or whoever the nominee is, they have to make sure that their base trusts them. Would you vote for a Republican like a Lindsey Graham or Mitch McConnell? You probably wouldn't vote.
Not with a guy who has no chin.
Yes, exactly.
And Lindsey Graham, yeah.
That goes back to Harlan Williams. Here he goes, I have no chin. If I drool, it goes straight down to my underpants. Straight down to my underpants.
I don't get it or understand the reference, but okay.
Pretty good. I remember seeing him live.
Here's my favorite joke. He goes, I like to cook. Recently I bought a 5-pound beef tongue and I cooked it in vegetable oil. You know what I call that dish? Lick my greasy ass. That's the joke. That's the joke.
It's not that funny. I'm trying. I'm not seeing the humor in this. It was a terrible joke. And I know terrible jokes. I have a joke book over here. Let me just rattle off a few of these puppies for you. Dad was fired from his job for making too many egg jokes. He was laid off. I was fired from my job at the bed store. Who do they think they are? Is this pool safe for diving? It deep ends. What do you call a belt of watches? A waste of time. I know bad jokes. I know bad jokes like the back of my hand, like nobody else on this planet. I would call myself the bad joke czar, the bad joke connoisseur. I know them, and what I just listened to was garbage. This is a bad joke expert that you're looking at right now, okay? And my expertise is telling me that's a bad joke.
Just made it.
And I'm sure you're
I love it. I freaking love that guy.
No, I think that they have to appeal to this sort of middle ground, whereas conservatives have to appeal to the base to some degree. And I love that you can comment below if you think that I'm wrong. I think Nick brings up a valid point. I just see the world similarly but differently. I'm probably, more angry beneath the surface than Nick, but his is there for all to see, which is fun.
Yes. That's how you prevent heart attacks, Steve.
So here's the truth as well, another truth, right? We just talked about the Harvard case. Biden invited this, of course, black shooting victim Ralph Yarl to the White House.
Of course, black? Why? I don't understand. Like, what's the connection here? Why do you care if he was black or not? Why does that matter? Black people make up 14% of the society. Why do you care if black people are involved in anything? See, this is the KKK way. Anytime a black person is involved in something, complain. Obviously, because they don't like black people. They don't want black people to be involved in anything at all, ever. And use the fact that, use the premise that white people are being persecuted as your reasoning to complain about it. Why do you care if they're black? It doesn't matter at all, right? I mean, if you're not racist, which Steven Crowder very obviously is, but if you're not, why do you care? Equality. They see, race around every corner.
Invited 6-year-old Kinsley white girl who was shot for trying to retrieve a basketball. So you have the empirical as a matter of policy.
I'm sorry, hang on. He's throwing this stuff up really quickly, and I'm, missing everything. That's probably intentional. Let's try this again. Listen real closely here.
Black shooting victim Ralph Yarl to the White House.
Okay, he invited shooting victim Ralph Yarl. Oh, he was that kid. I forgot about this. Yeah. He was the kid that went to the wrong house and rang the doorbell because he thought it was his friend's house, but he was a street over by mistake. And that guy shot him through a pane of glass twice, once in the head and once in the arm or hand or something, and he survived. And he invited him to the White House. Okay. And now the guy's being charged with a hate crime and stuff, I think. Rightfully so.
Not invited. 6-year-old Kinsley White, white girl who was shot for trying to retrieve a basketball. So you have the...
Well, I mean, you pick and choose. That person was in the news in that immediate moment. Like, he's invited all kinds of people to the White House, not just black people. Does he think that only black people have ever been invited to the White House with Biden? Like, he's making a big deal out of this when there's absolutely no reason to make a big deal out of this. This is an example of Biden just treating black people like every other person as they are. He is pretending to be persecuted as a white person. Just disgusting. KKK talking points, I'm telling you. This is exactly what the KKK used to say back in the 80s. And now they don't have to say it anymore because the Republican Party says it for them.
Empirical is a matter of policy. Of course, he supports equity. And I've been very clear about this. You can either support equality or equity.
No. That is the false dichotomy that the KKK wants you to believe. If you don't know what equity is, it's the idea that I gave this analogy earlier about a monopoly board, right? White people have been going around the monopoly board for 300 years or something. Longer, but in the United States, we'll say 300 years. And black people were disallowed from voting or from drinking from the same water fountains, going to the same schools, received worse education, have no generational wealth to speak of, none almost. That is the result of the fact that black people were disallowed from going around the monopoly board, basically, for hundreds of years, until very recently. Now, black people are allowed to go around the monopoly board. Simply allowed to. Not that they are even capable of generating wealth in the same way that white people are. They're not. But at least they're allowed to now, right?
Equity, and I've been very clear.
So equity is the idea that you try to put everybody on a level playing field. Make it an even ground that you start from. That's the idea behind equity. Now, equality is the idea that everybody is allowed to apply for the same colleges and go to those colleges if accepted. Equity is raising up the black community so that they have equal opportunity to get into that college. So the black community and the white community in the U.S., there's a disparity here, right? Like, the black community doesn't have any generational wealth, and they're largely, they don't get into positions of authority as often, and they don't get into colleges as often. Now, there's a reason for that. The reason can be one of two things, okay? One, either the black community is genetically inferior to whites. Either it's genetic, they're just not as good, and that's why they're not in, colleges to a representative degree. Or it's environmental. They've been forced into this position for one reason or another through, hundreds of years of segregation and mistreatment and Jim Crow laws and stuff like that. Either it's genetic or it's environmental. It's one or the other. If it's genetic, if you believe that it's genetic, you're a race realist and a Nazi. If you correctly accept that it's environmental, then that environmental stuff can be fixed. We can resolve that. We can correct for it. We can rise them up out of poverty and make things better for them. And by doing that, by raising them up out of poverty, by offering incentives to go to college in black communities or giving them like free tuition or whatever, that's called equity. That's what equity is. That we're raising them up out of poverty. That's equity. And that's what Steven Crowder is complaining about. And as a matter of fact, that's what the KKK talked about too back in the 80s. That's the real difference between equity and equality. Black people are allowed to attend the same colleges. That's equality. Equity is giving them the same opportunity to attend those colleges.
About this, you can either support equality or equity. You cannot support both.
I do. I support both. I want What he's saying is if you raise black people up to have the same opportunities as white people, i.e. there are 15% black people in the U.S., so we want to give, college admission slots to 15% black people to be representative of society. He's saying that that's discriminating against white people. It's simply not. That's a KKK talking point, and it's twisting things around, warping it out of proportion to make it seem like something other than it is.
Equality means equality of opportunity. Equity means ensured outcomes, which has to forbid equal opportunity for certain groups, like Asians in Harvard.
Yes, exactly.
Simply absurd. Again, KKK talking point. It's garbage.
And people that have the last name White and happen to also be white. The problem there with that last one, though, is that it was a black man who shot her father, her, and I think one other person was hit by some kind of a fragment in their family as well. This person was shot by a black man. No headlines, black man shoots white girl. But in the previous story...
Yeah, why would they put that? Was it race-inspired? Was this black man shooting white girl because he hates white girl? Is that what he's trying to communicate? Like, I don't know the point that he's trying to get at here. Why would anybody put that in a headline?
White man shoots black guy.
Yeah.
They didn't want to draw attention to it.
Well, that was race-based, obviously. One was race-based, the other was not. So it makes sense, yeah. Again, KKK talking points, okay? It's like he's talking to a KKK lawyer or like a Grand Wizard or something. And the Grand Wizard is giving him these ideas to address on his show. Insane.
And they wanted to paint.
Well, white man shoots black guy. It's a novelty. So they like it in the media. It's a statistical novelty. Let's be honest here.
I'm sorry, what?
Black guy, it's a novelty. So they...
White man shooting a black guy is an anomaly, is what he's saying? Really? Do you think that this is uncommon? White guy shooting a black guy?
like it in the media. It's a statistical novelty. Let's be honest here as far as interracial crime. I mean, I know the DOJ stopped recording the victims of the crimes of perpetrators, or at least they stopped recording interracial crime statistics. You either can get the perpetrator or the victim, but not both. They used to register them accurately. So there's a novelty of, you know, of a white man shooting a black man. Despite what you believe, it's actually not nearly as common. Here's another claim in Biden.
Yeah, this is all just straight from the KKK. All of these talking points are from the KKK. You know what? I'd actually, come to think of it, I would be surprised if Steven Crowder was not a member of the KKK, with how accurately his views kind of coincide with what the KKK says. He said novelty, yes, but he meant anomaly. I would be surprised if he was not a member of the KKK, really. In fact, I think I'd place money on it. I would be willing to bet that he is at the very least very close friends with some members of the KKK. I'd put money on that for sure.
Wonderful rambling video that Republicans want to control women's bodies. He wants to control the water temperature.
They're right there.
He wants to.
Well, Steven Crowder definitely does. I don't know if you heard the beginning of this or not, like the first one, but let's see, 2716. In the beginning of this, he was talking about going through a divorce and how it's, for some reason, legal for women to divorce men without the man's permission. Like, how wrong is that, according to Steven Crowder? Yeah, definitely. I mean, in this video, he espoused that position. I don't even have to find other clips of him saying it in the past. It's in this. Just go back like 2 parts and you'll see it.
Bodies. He wants to control the water temperature.
They're right there.
He wants to control the water temperature for girls in the showers. Like, well, no, I like it cold.
Yeah, again, this is a shout out. I mentioned this earlier. This is a shout out to a conspiracy theory about Joe Biden being like taking advantage of kids, if you will. That's just complete nonsense. No evidence for it, actually.
Remember that?
Come
when
on,
Ashley
Dad, I'm
Biden
freezing.
wrote a...
Right, so Ashley Biden supposedly wrote a diary, and Project Veritas supposedly stole it. But you notice that almost nobody is talking about it. I'd be willing to bet you didn't even know about that if you don't follow politics closely. The reason is because they tried to cover it up after it was, they claimed that it was stolen and everything else. I'm not even convinced it was real, honestly. I think it was very possibly fake, fabricated, and Biden said he's going to sue people for defamation, which is very possible if they're lying about this.
About it in her diary, and they said this isn't real, and then they decided to raid James O'Keefe, going, okay, all right, but it's real, but you stole it.
Yeah, James O'Keefe stole the diary is the claim, all of this. Like, I don't know if any of it is true.
He's like, I didn't steal it. Like, well, the story's passed. Wait, did she shower with her dad, the former vice president? Yeah.
Yes.
No, there's no evidence of this. They're just making all of this up, desperately trying to slander Biden as being somebody who takes advantage of kids. No reason to believe any of it.
Oh, was that a serious question? Yes. So, his claim is that Republicans want to control women's bodies. Here's the truth. Dobbs versus Jackson, the most egregious example that they want to give you.
Ever.
The Supreme Court decision, it returned abortion to the states. Women are still free to abort a baby.
No, they're not. They're not free to abort a baby. Those rights have been limited. And yeah, it returned it to the states, technically. But when it was returned to the states, those states limited abortion, banned it outright in many cases, first of all. And second, it doesn't really even matter, like, who bans abortion or whatever. It's being limited by Republicans exclusively. And Lindsey Graham and many other Republicans are pushing for a national ban. Is Steven Crowder willing to say he's opposed to a national ban on abortion? Of course not. He's just using some propaganda against people. He's trying to come up with any propaganda he can. This one probably came from the Heritage Foundation or something. Using any propaganda he can to twist it around and make it seem like something that it's not. Just like with affirmative action, black people and admissions and everything else, right?
In a majority of states, and then other states that think, if a baby is viable, for example, or if, unlike Virginia, they don't believe up until and including birth or after birth period, they're free.
Okay, nobody believes that. Up to, including, and after birth abortions? No, that's completely made up. Nobody pushes for that. It was illegal under Roe v. Wade after 20 weeks, with very few exceptions, like the fetus has no brain or something. Then it was allowed after 20 weeks, which is actually more common than you would think. Seriously. Or the mother was literally about to die. That's the only situation. And after 30 weeks, it was statistically 0. After 20 weeks, I think it was statistically like 99% was before 20 weeks. I forget the exact statistics now, but it's somewhere in there. Hell, 30% are before 6 weeks. So this is all pure propaganda.
Free to implement the laws that they want to. And just so you know that this is true, you can see their rhetoric where now they have abortion tourism. So they know that there are states that have radically pro-abortion laws, and people are leaving their
Wait, abortion tourism? What's he talking about? Abortion tourism? I've never heard of this.
State to go get abortions performed in those states, which of course they want to subsidize on the left. So their arguments hold.
Which of course they want to subsidize. I mean, yeah, people are going to states where it's legal, of course. But what's he talking about? The left wants to subsidize? I'm not familiar. I mean, is he saying that the left wants the government to pay for people to go to other states? No. I want the government to make abortion legal again, actually. I don't want them to subsidize anything.
No water when you see their own arguments that they make, depending on the audience at any given time.
I think you said you meant to say that we are depriving people of health care, Stephen. Because,
Yes.
That's the commonly used. And
I was way off.
Yeah.
I apologize. You guys can admonish me. We're depriving women of health care.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they are. I know that these people are like fundamentalist, Puritan extremists, but abortion is a form of health care. And it's an incredibly integral and important form of health care. If you don't have abortion available, people are going to die. And it's a lot more than you would think.
It's science.
Because I saw Nick just standing out front of the clinic, just slapping insulin needles out of a beast bitch's hand, just like, get out of here.
Seriously, he doesn't understand, apparently, how important it is for people to have access to abortions. It is an extremely important part of society.
Healthcare. Nothing more healthy than sticking a
Yes, exactly.
Okay, that is fucking disgusting. I'm probably going to mute that. And I don't even know why he said it. Like, what the fuck is wrong with somebody who would say something like that? Seriously. That's not what's happening when people get abortions. Why would he even say something like that? That's just... These people have no moral bottom, seemingly. No moral bottom.
Yeah, no, it's hell.
Hey, that's an anti-abortion joke. Relax over there.
No, it's the new
pictures.
It's the new women's gym. It's curved hangers.
Yeah, Gerald was not laughing at that. That's not funny. That's fucking disgusting. What is wrong with you?
Jenny Clump of cells. So here's another claim. Weight removers. We can go all day. Jeez. Here's another claim that Republicans want to tell people who they can love, which is...
Yeah, absolutely. Republicans want to ban gay marriage. I mean, it's explicitly... It's right there in the Supreme Court opinion that they produced about Roe v. Wade, that they intend to reevaluate the gay marriage decision and remove the option for people to get married if they're gay. Yeah, of course. This is indisputable. Crowder is an immoral degenerate. Yeah, tell me about it. That's fucking disgusting. All of it. That is absolutely depraved, what he just said. All of it. Every last bit of it. When he's not repeating KKK talking points, he's espousing race realism or talking about how abortion is bad and making jokes about it and stuff. It's just fucking disgusting, dude, from top to bottom. Every last bit of it.
I know, so stupid. I know a lot of you are angry that I'm addressing it.
No, I'm angry that you're an immoral degenerate like this. Like, what the fuck? Some of this shit is so disgusting, what he's saying. Holy shit, man.
And I want to kick my own ass, but I kind of have to because he said
He started it.
So does anyone actually believe this? Do you actually believe that Republicans want to tell people who they can love?
Yes, obviously. Of course they do. Are you kidding me? They said in the Supreme Court opinion they intend to review or revisit the case that opened up gay marriage. It was Clarence Thomas that said this. Thomas, Alito, John Roberts, Gorsuch, Coney Barrett, Amy Coney Barrett, and Kavanaugh all intend to reverse gay marriage. The fact that they haven't yet is it's just because enough time hasn't passed yet. They're working on it.
If you could go back to the most homophobic redneck who didn't think that queers should get married and you guys all wanted to label him hateful, he doesn't care who they love. He's like, so Elton John believed in civil unions because he's...
Oh, no. They most definitely care who they love. Absolutely. But there's effectively no difference between, allowing somebody to get married and allowing them to, love somebody. And for the record, the goalposts always, always, always get moved back. Right now, the goalpost is that we want gay marriage. But when they take gay marriage away, they're going to move the goalpost back even more. A matter of fact... Texas even, I believe it was Texas, outlawed sodomy laws, or outlawed sodomy. They said that they were going to, which, by the way, basically criminalizes being gay. Not gay marriage, but just being gay. The Attorney General of Texas said he's willing and able to prosecute people for sodomy, which is any sex act that is not intended to produce a baby. So literally only missionary between men and women. You're not allowed to be in a gay relationship at all. That's his plan, his intent, according to the Attorney General of Texas. I don't know what that is, if not outlawing being gay or outlawing loving who you love. Like I said, the goalposts keep moving back. Right now it's gay marriage, but once that goes away, it's going to be the next thing in line, sodomy laws.
He said marriage is for boring heterosexual peoples. There is no Republican who wants to tell you who you can love. Some of them think it's gross.
Oh, no, there are, most definitely. All of the people on the Supreme Court, crusaders. In fact, Steven Crowder feels this way. I would put money on it if there's some way to prove it. He just wants to carefully, gingerly walk around the goalpost for the moment until it's more politically advantageous.
boring heterosexual peoples. There is no Republican who wants to tell you who you can love. Some of them think it's gross. Here's the truth. Biden is, I'm guessing, referring to a Florida bill that the Don't Say Gay bill, which, by the way, appears nowhere in.
No, that's not what Biden was referring to. He was probably referring to the fact that Clarence Thomas wrote in his opinion while removing Roe v. Wade that he intends to revisit the gay marriage bill. And Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, said he is willing and able to prosecute sodomy laws. These aren't nobodies. This isn't the nut-picking fallacy. This is people in positions of power who are willing and able to abuse that power to take people's rights away.
Referring to a Florida bill that the Don't Say Gay bill, which, by the way, appears nowhere in that bill.
Correct.
It just says that you cannot teach hypersexualized issues, right? Here's the actual wording. Instruction from the classroom by school or personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not that age appropriate.
Actually, it's a big thing. It's not just this one thing. You notice he listed number 3. There's a lot more to this, like a lot more. And also, it was just expanded to high school. So basically what it does is it outlaws teachers discussing gender or sexual orientation under any circumstances, no matter what, in the school. And not just in 3rd grade, but all the way up to 12th grade now. And they're just going to keep expanding. I would be surprised if they do not expand this to colleges as well. I would be surprised if they don't find a way to do that.
Identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not that age appropriate. That's it.
Through 3.
I know.
5 to 8-year-olds.
Exactly.
Like, he knows, I'm sure. I cannot imagine he doesn't know that they just expanded this to 12th grade also. He must know that, right?
That's going too far. How about to 21?
Yeah, exactly. We all knew about our sex lives.
Yeah. Can you tell me how
3rd grade?
Can you tell me how you plowed your partner over the weekend?
Yeah, exactly. How's it
To a
going?
3
Yeah.
or 3rd?
That's not what it is. Nobody is talking about that. They're talking about their sexual orientation or their gender. And this is in Florida. Like, I don't even know why we're talking about the Don't Say Gay bill. That's not what Biden was referring to. There is a concerted effort by Republicans to remove the rights of anybody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport. And I just gave a couple of examples.
Did it in the sandbox.
Yeah. We all remember our 2nd grade
Got
teacher
it behind the monkey bars.
handing out dick pics with the stencils.
Gee.
No one's trying to do that, and that was outlawed before the Don't Say Gay bill anyways. Like, I don't even know what he's talking about here.
How in the world can you fight for something like this and not be viewed as a despicable person or pedophile? Like, how can you be like, well, no, kindergarten kid.
I'll tell you how. Because you're completely misrepresenting the situation. Again, this was expanded to 12th grade. That means 18-year-olds who've probably been sexually active for at least a couple of years and have most likely known that they were gay for 6, 7, 8 years. Hell, some people know by the time they're 8 years old. Some people know by the time they're 6 years old. And it's not something that you're groomed into believing. This is just something that you are. So this isn't something that, this isn't something that people are like fighting for to be allowed to like groom kids or something. That is the Republican bastardization of what the left is fighting for. The left is fighting for people to be allowed to be themselves, to do what they want, and not worry about extremists coming in and trying to ban gay people from existing or ban being gay from any kind of public forum whatsoever. The people that support the Don't Say Gay bill are the same people that attended this, citizen comments segment to try to get a pride parade banned from, this is just a public demonstration, a perfectly legal public demonstration. People using their First Amendment rights and supporters of the Don't Say Gay bill, of Ron DeSantis' Don't Say Gay bill, appeared there to talk about people doing this pride parade.
I don't want to see a guy twerking in front of me. I'm 60 years old. Has nothing to do with my kids. I don't want to see it.
That's really what it boils down to. It was never about the kids. It was always about hatred and bigotry. I mean, I am as close to the gay community as you get without actually being gay. I've never seen a guy twerking in front of me. I don't know what he expects to see. Pride parades are usually family friendly. I mean, there are 18 plus pride events, but those are not, the normal ones that are like held openly out in the public like that.
I don't care who you date. This is about opposing a very dark political movement.
Find a private venue or a safe space that you say you desire.
You can go to the library, you can go to my church, I don't care. Just stay out of the public venues with what you're trying to advertise.
Again, they start with one position, and by the end of it, they take a different position. They move the goalposts. They move it until being gay is completely criminalized up and down the board.
The word is clear that homosexuality is a sin.
Do we or do we not want sex on display in a public park here in Franklin, Tennessee?
Again, like pride parades are not an open display of sex.
It's only a matter of time before it turns out into what you would see in other major cities.
We are at an inflection point in this city's history and in this nation's history where pronouns are being shoved down our throats.
I'm sure you don't want to see me in a bondage gear outfit. I wouldn't look very good.
I also want to say this lie of being hated, gay community that's here, we love you. We don't hate you. I have friends that are gay. I grew up being surrounded by gay community in Southern.
So anyways, yeah, it's all completely fabricated nonsense. It's garbage, and it's propaganda intended to give people a very specific impression of the movement and cover up the bigotry and hatred that they espouse on a daily basis.
Be viewed as a despicable person or pedophile. Like, how can you be like, well, no, kindergarten kids need to be able to hear about the sex lives of their teachers?
Nobody is saying that. Nobody has ever espoused that. That's not a goal of anybody. But you get one foot in the door by banning, writing this bill where teachers are not allowed to, identify themselves as gay under any circumstances. Didn't the Don't Say Gay bill also demand that teachers inform parents if they find out the student is gay or something like that? I forget exactly. You get one foot in the door, and then you expand that out. Now that you have this extremely restrictive bill that could possibly be viewed as reasonable by people in the middle, by moderates, for children, you expand that out to everybody. That's how it works. You start with one wedge, and you take the rights away from one group, and you expand it out to take the rights of everybody.
I feel like I've been tossing to you, the viewer, too much today, but I would really love to see a comment below. Don't you think former Vice President Joe Biden's a pedophile? Come on, in your heart of hearts, don't you think he's an actual pedophile?
Well, sniffing for pert. Or herbal essence.
Pert plus kids.
Yeah.
No, he's not. I don't like. How do they not get sued over this stuff, honestly? This is insane.
More tears. Yeah. Not when I'm through with you.
Oh.
Exactly.
Jeez.
It's a big yes.
Yeah, I think everyone thinks so. It's enough that if he was doing with your kids what he does with other people's kids, you'd want to kick his ass. And so
what do you think he's doing with kids? This is insane. How is he not sued for this?
People say, hey, are they coming for your kids? Well, maybe not everyone's coming for my kids. Just the former Vice President, Joe Biden. I have to lock up the shower.
No one is coming for your kids. At no point in time has anyone ever come for your kids. Insane.
And by the way, the Biden administration is, just to be clear, in a contrast to that, forcing a notably LGBTQAI agenda on America by appointing LGBTQ activists. And not because they are, but actually in spite of the fact that they're supremely underqualified and have a...
Okay, that person that he showed was fired a long time ago, and the fact that they were gay had no bearing on their job or anything at all. It had nothing to do with any of it. That person specifically that he showed was arrested for running some kind of a scam or something. They were just a scumbag. They weren't hired for being gay.
A long and storied history of being bad at their jobs. He also, by the way, told Dylan Mulvaney that not the person responsible for Bud Light sales tanking. That
oh my God. Okay, if you don't know the story, conservative Nutter Butters. Dylan Mulvaney was a sponsor of Bud Light, and Dylan Mulvaney is a trans person. And yeah, so conservatives absolutely lost their minds when they found out that like Bud Light had sponsored a trans person, and they started throwing Bud Light away and trashing like the Bud Light stands at stores and all kinds of stuff, right? Like, who cares? There's like this huge Bud Light boycott, just losing their minds. And as it turns out, I mean, these conservatives seem to believe that they successfully wrecked Bud Light as a company, but no, they're fine. Their numbers are as high as they ever were. In fact, they're higher, funny enough. So, yeah, there's that.
told Dylan Mulvaney that not the person responsible for Bud Light sales tanking, that not transitioning kids is immoral.
Not transitioning children is immoral. So he thinks that if you have cis children who are not trans, it's immoral to not force them to be trans. That's the impression he wants you to have about these statements. When in reality, I think at best, the most charitable interpretation I could give is they seem to think that, or they believe that forcing children to live as cis when they have expressed that they are trans is immoral. And I can definitely agree with that position. Just a voice, they don't have to join the KKK. I would check the Oath Keeper's Proud Boy rolls for his name. Have a crock bite on me. Okay, I appreciate that. I will, definitely. And yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Oath Keepers, Proud Boys, they're all basically KKK members. I keep using the, I keep pointing out that it's the KKK, that talking points that they're using, though, because the KKK, it is the KKK talking points. These all came from them, from the Ku Klux Klan. And the KKK has a worse reputation than the Proud Boys do for some reason.
I think that it's really important that we continue to speak out about the basic fundamental rights of all human beings. And the idea,
oh my God,
the idea that what's going
looks
on,
like a shadow man.
She might have balls,
in some states, I won't get into the politics of it.
Dude, I wish they would just shut up and listen to what he has to say, or pause it or something. I can't understand a word that they are saying or that Biden is saying when they do this shit.
But in some states, it's outrageous, and I think it's immoral. The trans part's not immoral.
Oh, you had it right.
What they're trying to do to trans persons is immoral.
Yeah, absolutely. So if they took that very vanilla, obvious statement that anybody should be able to conclude that it's immoral to take people's rights away, and they twisted that into it's immoral to not transition kids. You must be transitioning children. See how they twist it around? See how this propaganda works?
And what he means by try to do is parental rights where you have the right.
No. He said it's immoral for you to take people's rights away. That's what he means. Full stop. You are adding that extra information in.
Is immoral.
And what he means by try to do is parental rights where you have the right to prevent your 6, 7, 8-year-old child from permanently rendering themselves infertile.
That's insane. This is not happening. Give me a single example of a 6, 7, 8-year-old child physically, getting, medically transitioning. I don't know of a single example. I think, what's the number? It's how many? 1,800 people in the U.S. are medically transitioning under 18. I mean, most people know that they're trans by the time they're, 14 probably. I would assume. I don't have data to back that up. I should probably look the data up. Why does he care what people are doing with their lives? He is literally justifying taking rights away right now.
Prevent your 6, 7, 8-year-old child from permanently rendering themselves infertile.
Oh, okay. So they're saying go to Rumble.
Okay, that means that we're still live on Rumble because I just slipped up because I was watching that and I don't know how to even... Mr. Burns in the cornfield. That's what that looks like right there.
It's funny, the dump button, we actually keep track of when we hit it, and it's just like going down the list now because every time we're on YouTube.
Oh, yeah. There's no
But why are you watching on YouTube anyway? Go to Rumble.
Yeah, head on over to Rumble.
Jeez.
Even though there have been, of course, DDoS attacks because of how massive Rumble has become. So that shows that you guys are doing something right. Biden is not only a liar and a failed former vice president, no one wants him to run again.
I mean, I think 50% of Democrats want him to run again or something. I'm not a fan of Biden. I wish that we had somebody that was like a little bit better than him. But I think he should run again because he has the incumbent advantage, which cannot be overstated how important it is to have the incumbent advantage.
This is from CNN. 70% of Americans, 51% of Democrats.
Holy cow.
Just to be clear.
51% of Democrats
51% of Democrats don't want him to run again.
And he's not going to.
That's impressive.
You can't get 51% of Democrats to agree on anything outside of castration.
He's not.
Dude, what does he mean, anything outside of castration? I guess what he's saying is people who medically transition are castrated. I mean, I think that kind of depends. Not necessarily, but all right. Why do you care what other people are doing? Honestly. Why is it any of your business? What is his obsession with what other people do with their lives? Really? Like, get over yourself and move on and worry about your divorce instead of what other people do with their bodies or with their lives or whatever. Get your own house in order. Why don't you try that?
Not going to make it.
You don't think he will?
He's going to get up to piss in the middle of the night, trip on something, bust his head on the tub. I'm telling you. He is. I'll bet anybody here.
I think
they're going to come up with something. They're going to come up with something.
They? Who is they? Are they in the room with us right now? Like some secretive cabal out there that's like trying to pull strings behind the scenes and manipulate things to make sure that Biden doesn't run because he's had his time and they control the world. I mean, it's just all nonsense, man. Come on.
No? I think he probably has one of those tubs that the door opens that they sell on Fox
that's
News.
right. I wanted one of those.
He hover rounds to the Grand Canyon.
I want that and acorn stair lift.
Yes.
You ever come home shit-faced and staircase looks like a Mount Charles.
Yes, exactly.
What the hell's Mount Charles? It's a club I just played.
I don't understand the joke at all. Maybe it's just me. This is just terrible.
But the bathtub with the door.
Yes.
It looks like someone just came out of that room from Event Horizon. In Biden's case, it probably looks very much the same.
I lift my leg now to get in the tub. You see your balls in the mirror. Look like a Great Dane.
No, why do you have a...
Look like Joe Louis.
But if you're lifting your leg, that would mean you have a mirror in the bottom of your tub.
I do.
Who are you, Joe Biden?
Yes.
He loves
my niece lives right under me.
Yes, exactly.
What? This is like disturbing and weird. Is it just me?
I thought there was something odd with the mirrored shoes.
By the way, you know how most people announce their reelection? Stadium, a tour.
That's a good point.
Giant crowd of people.
That's a good point.
Yeah, not most, but I suppose some of them do. But you know what? I mean, Biden does do appearances and stuff. But COVID is still a thing. It still exists. And it should still be taken seriously. This is the same reason why Biden didn't hold an inauguration, among other reasons. There are also terrorists out there looking for an opportunity to, like, attack him, so.
Point.
Biden did a video where they're like, can you just use a lot of what I did say already so I don't have to say it again? I can't say that many words.
Yeah.
Well, Biden added commentary to it. What's he talking about?
Great point.
There's a marathon of Matlock.
Remember his campaign? There was like 4 Toyotas out there.
Yeah.
One person in each.
I bet you he gets confused when he watches Matlock. What? Matlock's in a car chase. What in holy hell?
Where's Perry Mason?
Yeah. By the way,
Well, I mean, are they just joking about him being old? Okay. Yeah, he's old.
Smash the Rumble button if you are watching on Rumble because we want as many people to go over there as possible. No one really wants you on YouTube. And at some point, we won't be there at all. Now, here's the other thing. Before his announcement, Biden made his most, and a lot of times people throw this term around. I mean it. When I say communist, I mean communist. A communist statement, as close to communism as I've ever seen from an American former vice president to date.
Rebecca put a teacher's creed into words when she said, there's no such thing as someone else's child.
I know.
no such thing as someone else's child. Our nation's children are all our children.
There's no such thing as someone else's child. Well, in their view, it takes a village to raise a child. And so that's how we deal with it there with former Vice President Biden. Yeah, they're good to the draw there, Toolman with you.
The kid looks happy.
I don't remember the village people having Coney in it. I don't know what that was.
They expanded.
Coney.
And you know what? Actually, Nick, you made this point yesterday, and so we decided to sort of reiterate it for people who missed yesterday's show. A lot of what you were saying, why are they doing this? Why are they trying to destroy these institutions? And it starts.
What institutions does he think are being destroyed right now?
With destroying the family.
Nuclear family, you're right.
Really
That's the enemy.
Because before, and I've talked about this before you have federal government, before you have state government, municipal government, you have self-governance. And that can only happen through the family. That's why there were laws to encourage families. That's why there are tax incentives to encourage families, because a strong family unit encourages a moral society. And we fail to have a society that can function.
Wow. So he's saying that, God, I just put these in the wrong order, but I understand the order I'm supposed to be hitting now. Is he saying that you cannot be moral unless there's a strong family structure? That sounds like what he's saying, right? I mean, what does he view as moral? I don't understand. Like, in what way is it more moral to have a family than to not have a family? How does that encourage a moral structure? I don't get it, honestly.
Without strong family units, and that's why you hear the rhetoric from the left. It takes a village. There is no other person's child. And then, of course, they want the government to take your children away if you don't transition them. Now, here's something you may...
They want the government to take your children away if you don't transition them? I mean, seriously, think about what he just said. What he's implying is that children should be forced to transition, whether they want to transition or not. Simply absurd. You know what? This is actually really interesting. This is an interesting case study here. Since he mentions this, let me show you this old clip. All right, let's just step back. Listen to this one more time so I have the context.
It takes a village. There is no other person's child. And then, of course, they want the government to take your children away if you don't transition them. Now, here's something you may not know.
The government wants to take your children away if you don't transition your children. This is the same type of rhetoric that you heard coming out of the pro-segregation movement in the 1950s. Listen to how the segregation movement was framed in the 50s by people like KKK members, for example.
Some of the people are definitely against integration. And they have told my children that they have to marry, and my child doesn't even know what a is, but from the sound, it has scared them, and they have come home just crying.
I mean, you're seeing the similarities here, right? What's basically happened is Steven Crowder is twisting it around to put the burden on other people, an exact tactic of the KKK. He's saying other people are trying to force you or your children to transition. By like government sanctioned, you must. In the same way, in the 1950s, they used to say they're going to force children to marry black people. It's not going to be their choice anymore. They're taking away freedoms. When in reality, it's actually Steven Crowder that's advocating for taking freedoms away. It's actually this woman who was advocating for taking freedoms away. See how it works?
Mommy, do I have to marry Negroes? And my answer in handling all the fears that children come in is that you can marry whomever you wish.
See, the whole thing is built on a faulty premise intentionally. Same tactics as the KKK.
Proponents of abolishing the family unit. Yeah. That, as a matter of fact, was step number one. Let me read you a quote, and this one doesn't include the N-word from Karl Marx. Like he loved using that.
We had to search through a lot of quotes.
Some artists paint with watercolors. He said, on what foundation is the present family is a bourgeois family based? On capital, on private gain. In its completely developed form, the family exists only among the bourgeoisie. The bourgeois family will vanish as a matter of course when its completement vanishes, and both will vanish with the vanishing of capital. Okay,
I'm not sure that that's even real. I mean, it's probably real. It's possible, maybe. Don't trust absolutely anything out of their mouths. Nothing. Not one word. Look it up yourself before trusting any of it. But aside from that, I'm not even sure what point he's trying to make here. Like, I'm reading through here. I'm trying to understand, like, what point is he making here? Was his goal to just read something from Karl Marx about families, and that he thinks that proves his point?
Completement vanishes, and both will vanish with the vanishing of capital. They wanted no family unit, and you just heard Biden say there's...
Okay, did Karl Marx want to eliminate families? That makes no sense at all. And even if he did, okay, I don't like Karl Marx. Boom, simple as that. See how easy that was? I don't understand. It's like they believe that the left views Karl Marx as some kind of a god, like an unquestionable god. Same with Darwin, right? Everything that Darwin said is sacrosanct and cannot be questioned. That's what they think we believe on the left. No, Darwin had a decent idea that was expanded into a correct idea, phenomenal explanation of the world around us. Doesn't mean that Darwin was a good person, or that I stand for everything that he ever said, or that he was never wrong about anything. It's just garbage. Like, all of it. Everything, like their entire perspective on the world and the way that others view the world is nonsense.
There's no such thing as someone else's kid. Actually, there is. Mine. Why? Because you shower with yours when she was reading Teen Beat.
Well, and look.
Again, he's talking about Biden, and there's absolutely no evidence to suggest that Biden, did anything questionable with this kid. That's just conspiracy theorist propaganda.
Every kind of despot leader who's trying to completely change society has tried to use this. So there's kind of these famous stories.
Tried to use what exactly?
In Cambodia, when I was over there, I found out about this. I had no idea how terrifying the killing fields were. There was over 1 million people killed. Everybody was pushed out of the cities into the countryside. And what the government actually did, there was a chilling scene in, I think, The Killing Fields, the movie that came out. It basically showed a kid walking up to a chalkboard.
Sorry, my pants rode up.
You're fine.
So
It happened.
People, you can't see. You ever have your pants right up when the scene gets in the wrong place? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Talk about The Killing
on
Field.
Camera.
It's killing my ball field.
There was a chalkboard with
Okay, I don't. Whatever. Okay, fine.
big figures of a family, like two adults and 2 kids, but they were all holding hands. And a child walks up, grabs the eraser, and erases the hand holding between the parents and the children. And the state officer starts clapping. Mm-hmm. Basically, your loyalty is not to parents. There is no family.
Okay, interesting. Like, I don't know what he's referring to, but I'll give him this. In communist Russia, Stalin was desperate to erode the family unit because if he could make everybody loyal to him and him alone, then he could control people much more effectively. That was kind of the goal, the idea, or whatever. And that's bad. See what I did there? I denounced it. That's wrong. That's not good. That's not productive. That's not a good part of, any functioning government. And I stand against it. It's denounced. Boom, just like that. I don't like that fact about communist Russia. So now let's see him denounce some QAnon and KKK ideas. Like, I don't even know the point that they're trying to get at. Are they saying that the left stands for eroding the family unit? I simply disagree. I am in favor of a family unit. I'm perfectly fine with families. I have no issue with that.
Your loyalty is to the state.
Yeah.
There is nobody else that you should be loyal to or take direction from.
Stalin was all about that. Yes. But that's not an accurate representation of communism, honestly. And it's also not an accurate representation of what the U.S. left believes right now. Just completely fabricated.
Is to the state.
Yeah.
There is nobody else that you should be loyal to or take direction from. It's chilling to think about that as parents.
Yeah.
That the state tries to make it their job.
It's an important.
They don't, though. They don't. That's not happening in the United States. It's completely fabricated.
Point.
Gerald, that wasn't the Killing Fields. That was Porky's too.
Yes. Oh. And they were Cambodians were big Will Smith fans. Parents just don't understand.
And then you get slapped.
There's no such thing as someone else's kid. That was John Wayne Gacy's quote in his yearbook in high school.
And he did it in clown makeup. So
okay, that one was kind of funny, actually. I got to admit, when he drops a good one-liner. John Wayne Gacy was famously a serial killer that dressed like a clown and went to kids' birthday parties and, took advantage of them and stuff. And so the joke is that's his quote in his yearbook. There's no such thing as, what was it?
There's no such thing as someone else's kid. That was.
Yeah, no such thing as someone else's kid. That's kind of funny. That's a dark joke, but it's one that I can appreciate. I think it's the only good joke that I've heard from them so far.
John Wayne Gacy's quote in his yearbook in high school.
And he did it in clown makeup. So the conclusion here is nobody wants former Vice President Joe Biden to run again. You can correct me if you think I'm wrong. His campaign video is inaccurate verifiably on almost every single.
No, it was actually accurate on pretty much everything. Now, there are a lot of people that don't want Biden to run. I'll give you that one. That's fair enough.
Front says he cares about personal freedom. That's a lie. Says he stands for democracy. That's a lie. Says he wants everyone to be created equally. That's a lie, especially if you're Asian, if you're white. He says that Republicans are trying to control women's bodies when that's not true. He says Republicans care about who you love. That's not true.
I mean, all of this was actually accurate. It was accurately depicted in the Joe Biden campaign ad. I mean, Steven Crowder didn't give us any kind of reason to think otherwise, just completely full of it.
He wants to control people. On top of all that, he is openly advocating for communist ideas right out in the open, like you have no parental rights and your children are not your own.
Absurd. Simply, absolutely absurd. Biden is not advocating for having no parental rights. And your children are not your own. Like, what are you even talking about? This is nonsense.
Miss anything? If I did miss anything, comment below. If I didn't, hit the like button so that the algorithm gets this in front of people who actually may need to see it, but they probably won't anyway, even if you enter in the title.
On YouTube, that is.
Yeah.
On Rumble, they do it.
Oh, on Rumble, it's fun.
Yeah.
On Rumble, you get to actually see what it is that you want.
God, I wish I knew what you guys are talking.
Yeah, YouTube is not censoring Steven Crowder's videos, in my opinion. I don't think they're algorithmically throttling them or anything. I think he's just completely full of it. He just wants to exercise that persecution complex, as usual.
Talk about
Killing
Family,
fields,
Nick.
something, something, something.
Families.
Hey, this is one you're going to like.
No, I mean the tech part, sure.
Don Lemon.
Oh, yeah.
Don Lemon, what happened to that bitch?
Don Lemon was fired from CNN. If you're watching 5 years in the future or something, that's what's going on.
I guess that's appropriate.
Monkeypox?
So, no, that's passe. That's passe.
Is that's already gone?
That was
I think it
October.
is.
What's that rash on my balls?
It's very easily avoidable. If you want monkeypox, you kind of have to make an appointment.
Wait a minute. Where?
Yeah. Stand in line.
Norwegian Techno Music Festival.
I don't know what they're talking about. There was a conspiracy theory a little while back that monkeypox was coming from the gay community, and that, I don't know, something about the black community too. I don't remember how they were linked together, but it was a racist and homophobic conspiracy, of course. I don't know if they're shouting out to that, but again, this is like a really old story, so I don't even remember now.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
You
that's
gotta
the
really-
only way.
It was like three guys.
Yeah.
And they make it,
Yeah.
Don't you remember Sam Kinison, the bit he got in trouble for?
Yeah, the AIDS
People
thing?
don't. Yeah, the AIDS, where he said, "Yeah, I got in trouble because last special I said that there aren't any straight people who get AIDS. People said there are a lot of straight celebrities who get AIDS. Oh yeah, name one." And he throws them like.
I don't understand the joke here or anything. Like, I'm completely lost. There are a lot of straight people that get AIDS. Are you kidding me? You really don't realize this? Does he think that only gay people get AIDS?
Into the crowd. That was a bit.
I think Elton John, that was an award show, wasn't it? And Elton John was there or some shit. That's when he became one of my favorite comics.
Name one. He threw it out. Ow! Ow!
Didn't need the mic for that. Yeah.
That was him back then, just like monkeypox. Although I would like to go back and investigate the golden retriever with monkeypox.
Yeah, the gay couple's golden retriever.
Yeah, who also developed a latex allergy. I'm just saying.
Dude, what is he talking about? I am so lost.
It seems like where there's smoke, there's.
It's like the monkeypox slogan is monkeypox. You really got to want it.
Yeah.
They're laughing, but I don't understand. Am I missing something? Is this like a joke that I'm not a part of or what? Like, this is just nonsense, right? Worldwide, more straight people have AIDS than gay people. Oh, really? Wow. I'm surprised that more gay people in the U.S. have AIDS than straight people. I mean, I assume that's the implication there. But anyway, all just complete garbage. Every last bit of it. Insane. Countries that have better access to safe legal abortions are much less likely to have late-term abortions. Oh, 100%, yeah. And, like, there are a lot of ways that we could go about fixing the perceived problem of lots and lots of abortions in these people's minds. They don't want a lot of abortions? Okay. Expand sex ed classes, expand condom use and birth control and stuff. They don't want that either. They want abstinence only and no abortions. That's not how it works. They're laughing because gay people are dying. Oh, is that what it is? Okay, that doesn't surprise me. I just didn't understand the joke that they were giving us. It was just, I was so lost in that whole laughing fit that they gave just now. When I go back and edit this, I'll understand and be that much more disgusted. Telltale, please watch this quick video about what's happening in Montana State House. An elected official who happens to be... Oh, I heard. I saw it. Yeah, I've been watching that. I'm probably going to end up talking about that soon. But yeah, I know. Not good. If you're not familiar, this elected official is trans in Montana. And they have basically removed her from the state house. The Republicans there have. Refused to let her speak, refused to let her debate or anything at all because she's trans. And they're trying to remove her from office now, right? Sick shit, man. Sick shit. And I think they got the cops in there, didn't they? The police to remove her by force? Something like that? I don't remember now. But yeah, disgusting stuff for real. Cops in riot gear to clear the gallery. Just disgusting, man.
That's great.
Okay, I'm not even sure what they're laughing about, but it seems like it's possible they're laughing about gay people dying, so...
I'd say mark it down for a sketch, but no one will know what we're talking about because it hasn't been in the news for 6 months.
I'm sorry I brought it up.
Remember they said it was going to be the next big pandemic.
How about shingles, everybody?
Well, some people get it.
Oh, I do.
But it's just funny.
Oh,
I mean, it's funny for the rest of us, not the person
my friend
who
was
has
pregnant and had shingles.
Well, that's not funny.
Oh, my God. What was his name?
Somewhere.
Yeah, shingles is really bad. You should get the shingles vaccine if you haven't already. I have not. I need to get the shingles vaccine, like, really badly. Because I hear it's, like, one of the worst conditions that you can suffer from. It's basically chicken pox, right? It's like a form of chicken pox. If you've had chicken pox before, then you can get shingles, I believe. And I have. I've had chicken pox. When I was little, I had it, and it was miserable. So, yeah. I believe my mom took me to what they call a chicken pox party. Yeah, my mom was like one of those crunchy mommy, like, health nut people who was anti-vax a little bit and, like, anti-everything. My mom was. It was super weird. She's a homeopathic person, too. My mom believed in homeopathy, which is absurd on so many levels. I even had a homeopathic doctor when I was a kid. And it was Dr. Shevin. Turns out the guy was a homeopathic doctor instead of a real doctor because he lost his medical license because something. I think he sexually abused some people. I'm not even sure. So, yeah, that's not fantastic. Yeah, don't go to homeopathic doctors, okay? It's just a bad idea. Somebody should look into that, Dr. Shevin. I don't even remember what he did now, but there's like, I looked it up years and years ago. That was my homeopathic doctor. Someone look into that and tell me like what he did exactly. There's documentation on it, I know. Pox parties were high-risk vaccines before vaccines existed. Yeah, absolutely. That's true.
Oh, my God. What was his name?
Somewhere over the dildo.
Hey, that was you.
Shingles sting. Who's that guy who does that?
I don't know.
His name
He's
is.
like, let me take Somewhere Over the Rainbow and make it,
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. I just don't need to hear it over every graduation after Vitamin C. Okay, so.
Yeah.
That's fair enough. That's deep lore. Vitamin C was that band that sang that one song, Graduation. It was terrible. How does it go? God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm trying to think of how that song goes. Graduation by Vitamin C. I guarantee that now that I've mentioned it, we're going to have about 300 upticks in Vitamin C on like Spotify and YouTube Music for sure.
Don Lemon, that bitch, as Nick DiPaolo said. I will refer to him as a proud, gay, very gay black man and fake journalist.
He's not very gay. I didn't even know he was gay until fairly recently. I mean, he doesn't even talk about it that much, does he?
As a proud, gay, very gay black man and fake journalist. He was canned by CNN, but it gets funnier.
Colby, as I'm listening to you talk, I'm looking at our feed here internally, and Don Lemon is now tweeting that he has been informed that he has been terminated by CNN. Did anyone see this one coming?
Look, he's waiting for the...
Wow. Well, I knew that...
you don't know shit we just told you, Colby.
That's stunning.
Reminds me of the gay clerk in, was it Bloomingdale's Moscow on the Hudson? Oh my God, he's defecting!
I have no idea what he's talking about. He does so many inside jokes that like nobody gets except for him.
I really wish you would have said that to him. You don't know, Colby. I just told you. You don't know.
I got that from Uncle Junior on The Sopranos. I did.
So here's the thing. The way it was handled was, of course, the only way it could be, which was catty, back and forth.
Oh,
so
yeah.
CNN issued a statement saying, we wish him well. We'll be cheering him on in his future endeavors. And then Don Lemon immediately had his own statement afterwards. And he's like, I'm stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. So then CNN was like, yeah, go screw yourself. His statement this morning was inaccurate. And so you know.
Yeah, so this supposedly came from CNN Communications. I'm not even sure that this was the real Twitter account because there was no check mark on it when they sent this out. Now, there appears to be a check mark on it now, a gold check. I don't know if that's even real. Honestly, did they add that check mark? Let me look this up. Let me look up that Twitter account and see if it has a check mark now. Yep, apparently it does have a gold check, and it's got 160,000 followers on it. This account is verified because it's an official organization on Twitter. Interesting. Okay. So I guess it is real.
You know, take a hike, you silly, generically, ethnically ambiguous homo. That's what they said, and I don't know why they said it.
Lying bitch, even on the outgo.
See, they are obsessed with being racist and hateful and bigoted at any cost. Hating people, no matter what. It's just disgusting, dude. Really.
Went out the door, still lying.
I know. He was one, like The View was saying, that's a little too much. It's going to get too catty.
Dude, that guy has an absurdly good impression of a cat. I don't think I have ever heard somebody pretend to be a cat this well.
He was saying that's a little too much. It's going to get too catty.
That's
you say my impressions are good? That's a cat.
I was doing that one since 5th grade.
That's perfect.
Spot on.
Big cat and dog fight.
That is absolutely perfect.
Yeah, that was perfect. Oh my God, dude. Credit where credit is due. That guy knows how to pretend to be a cat. That guy is catty as hell. Hang on. I think I just hit all 120 shrines. I think that's it. And I got the DLC also. I think I just 100%ed this game, basically, in my opinion. I'm not in Nintendo's opinion, because if you look in the bottom corner, it should tell you that, no, wait, where is it? Usually, isn't there like a percentage completed? You have to get all 900 Korok seeds and stuff to actually 100% the game, and I'm not doing all of that, but let's just fly to another location and see how many shrines I got. Should be 120. Let's see. Turn into blue energy, fade away, and 120. Yep. I've hit every single shrine. That's cool. And 68 Korok seeds, too. Not 69, but 68. Damn. Almost there. Well, that's cool. Now I think if I go to the Forgotten Temple, I can get a special tunic, I believe, right? That's what they told me just a minute ago. So, you know what? Why not? We'll do it. We'll go there. All right, let's keep listening.
I passed English. My teacher loved that shit.
So Don Lemon hurt CNN's numbers at primetime. They move him to morning. He's like the Dylan Mulvaney of CNN, only gayer.
I know.
Why are they obsessed with this dude's sexuality? Honestly, why do they care?
It's possible. That's what he is.
You're absolutely right.
They can't. They're like, well, we just can't keep hemorrhaging viewers. I mean, they were moving this guy around. Now it's the same thing with Anderson Cooper.
Makes Dylan Mulvaney look like Aaron.
Anderson Cooper is gay also. Why do they keep talking about people's sexuality, honestly? Like, why do they care?
Viewers. I mean, they were moving this guy around. Now it's the same thing with Anderson Cooper.
Makes Dylan Mulvaney look like Aaron Rodgers.
Yes.
After 17 years of sucking, see, I had a primetime show that almost failed, so they put me in the morning. And for a while, they actually took me off of that because I heard terrible morning numbers.
Yes.
How did you possibly see it coming, Don?
What do you think made you do so poorly? Well, I make Anderson Cooper look like Jimmy the Greek.
Again, I don't get any of these jokes that they're telling, and they're all laughing like they're hilarious.
You ever meet Anderson Cooper?
Just in a bathhouse.
Yes. Well, so did Fauci.
I have not.
You can fit him in your back pocket. He's
that
so
tiny? How about the front pocket?
I mean, that's where he'd prefer, but, I set boundaries.
Is he tiny, too?
He's really tiny.
Yeah?
He's absolutely tiny. And anyway, this isn't going to go anywhere, but the point is they suck.
Laura Vanderbilt was 6'3", 260, wasn't she?
I have no idea. That sounds correct.
That's his mom. That's true, right?
Don't get me started on the Sarah Lee fortune. So,
I have no idea what they're talking about. This is all just complete nonsense, but I'm sure that somehow it kind of routes back to being homophobic, right?
Don's firing, and this is going to bring us to Tucker Carlson, which you're probably more interested in, but the sort of, I guess I would say, odd timing, coincidental timing. And look, let me be clear about this. I'm not reveling in the fact that Don Lemon's career isn't going. I actually like having these people when Chris Cuomo was on air, Brian Stelter, because I think it's important for people to see all points of view. And what I don't want to have happen is all of this sort of merge into a fake, unbiased middle ground of news, which we know not to be true. Let your freak flag fly. Let everybody see it. But in any event.
Okay, so this is interesting. What he's saying is, I want everybody's speech to be available and open to the world. He doesn't actually believe that. If he could have his way, he would set it up in such a way that only people that he agreed with had a platform. He is actually in favor of deplatforming people, but he pretends otherwise because he can, because he knows that him speaking out against deplatforming is more advantageous to him. And it has basically no effect if he endorses deplatforming to any degree. Like, it's not going to prevent somebody from, losing or allow somebody to, lose their platform or anything. Whatever he says about it isn't going to change the fact that they have a platform. So he's doing what's most politically expedient, of course. I mean, you can see this clear as day by the positions that he espouses. Absolutely grotesque and disgusting and evil, some of the shit that he said, just in this alone. The title of this was Tucker Carlson's Firing the Grand Plan by Steven Crowder, right? That's what this video is supposed to be about, and we are 45 minutes into the video, and just now, he's almost to the point where he's about to talk about Tucker Carlson being fired. He devoted 45 minutes to trashing the gay community, trashing the black community, trashing Don Lemon, trashing everybody he possibly could. And now he's going to devote somewhere in the vicinity of a total of probably 3 minutes talking about how Tucker Carlson was fired and say he wished that he wasn't fired. That's about it. There's an uneven distribution of time devoted to certain things. So let's listen to what he had to say about Don Lemon up to the point where he talks about Tucker Carlson, and then I'll do Tucker in the next one.
We're sad to see Don Lemon leave, and the least that we could do is honor him, of course, with his very own time to close.
Nothing but the utmost respect for my friends at ABC and other things.
Well, for me, an automatic weapon is something that you can shoot off a number of rounds.
That was good, sorry.
There are ways not to perform oral sex if you want to do it.
I'm not a partisan.
Yeah, all of this is out of context, and I have no idea what's happening or what's being said or discussed or whatever.
I know people think that I'm some liberal Democrat. I'm not. I said that the biggest terror threat in this country comes from radicals on the far right.
I'm the
Oh, that's for sure. Absolutely. Yes, that's true.
smartest man on television.
Yeah, I'm not going to play the music there, but CNN had some interesting News Year's Eve broadcasts over the years. All right, I'm going to have to cut the music out, so when I do the edits, I'll cut it out. So he refused to shake somebody's hand, apparently. Like, I mean, we don't know the context of any of this stuff, so.
You should probably drink a lot more than I do.
He has his hand in his pants, rubbing himself aggressively, and he shoves his 2 fingers up underneath my mustache, thrusts my head back.
Or whatever.
Dude, who are they talking about, and what was the context to that? See how this is like all deceptively edited to make Don Lemon seem like an absolute monster?
Ethnicity you are explaining to me.
Whatever ethnicity I am, I'll
what
tell
it's
you.
like to be black. in
Whatever
America.
ethnicity I am, I'll tell
Sorry.
you what I am. I'm an Indian American.
Yeah, that was his argument that probably got him fired, more than likely, was his argument with Vivek Ramaswamy, Republican running against Donald Trump.
What are we, in junior high school? Like, what the hell? What is this?
Prime. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime. Sorry. When a woman is considered to be in her prime in her 20s and 30s and maybe 40s.
What are you
that's
talking? Wait.
That's not according to me. Hang on, please. I cannot keep a thought if you guys are talking to me in my ear. So hang on 1 second. So to say that black people, say what you said again.
I never watched Don Lemon, who I once called the dumbest man on television. Bad reporting.
That need to be answered from real journalists.
Right, so, yeah, I don't know what point they're getting at. They're just deceptively editing all of this Don Lemon footage. What's their point here?
Why is this headshot the Pee Wee Herman pose?
Yeah, I didn't know he's Muslim.
That's right, it's Farrakhan. You said the word of the day, Jews.
I don't get it. Is he just like, what's the point here? He thinks he's some awesome comedian. This is all complete garbage, seems to me, right?
I bet you they're going to find him in a dirty theater somewhere. That guy got a bad rap. That really wasn't fair. He was in a dirty theater, Paul Rubens, and it's like, okay.
He's talking about Pee Wee Herman right now. Yeah, Pee Wee Herman was in a dirty theater and caught doing things that may be less than reputable, and kind of got canceled for that one, but okay.
Hey, that's not that big of a deal. The point is,
I mean, it's a little bit of a big deal, but it's kind of, that's where you go to do that kind of thing.
I take it over Blippi.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly.
Where should he been? The low center?
See, suddenly they don't care about sexual goings-on when it's convenient to them. They care about sexual goings-on, what people are doing sexually, when it's convenient. When it's somebody that they don't like. But when it's someone they do like, they overlook it. They don't care. Ignore it completely. Just disgusting, man. Just the hypocrisy is ridiculous.
Cineplex,
yeah, exactly.
Studio 3.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, Frozen 2 came out.
Well, Elsa. So, this moves us to Tucker Carlson. Tucker's firing has leftists like AOC. And this is why we say, I'm not... Don Lemon was fired because his ratings were bad. Let's understand the difference here, right? Don Lemon's ratings were terrible no matter where he went. Primetime...
Okay, what is he talking about? Don Lemon is actually... he's been with CNN for, ever, hasn't he? What does he mean he had bad ratings? He was not terrible. Dude, I hate this level. This is terrible. I mean, Tucker Carlson obviously had better ratings because Fox News is kind of condensed. Every conservative on planet Earth practically watches Fox News, but we'll get into that more in a minute. Keep listening here.
Time, bad. Morning, bad. He was ratings cancer. Yeah. Tucker brought in record ratings. He did incredibly well. The issue is the boycotting from giant leftist corporations. So there's a huge difference between the market determining that your show is not successful and deliberately trying to remove someone simply because they have points of view that you dislike. And so that's why it's...
Dude, I am sucking. I'm just listening to Steven Crowder is a problem. Aside from that, so is he saying that Tucker was removed from Fox News because he had views that Fox disagreed with? That doesn't sound right. And also, we don't actually know why Tucker was fired from Fox News yet. We'll probably know in the next few days. Who knows? Honestly, I thought we'd have known by now. We still don't know. But yeah, he's just speculating if he's trying to give a reason why Tucker was removed from Fox News.
I don't want to say unsettling, it's expected, but of course it's aggravating to see people like AOC giddy with excitement at the idea of corporate censorship.
Corporate censorship? No, she's not giddy at the idea of corporate censorship. They're going to show the clip of her in a second, but no one is excited for corporate censorship. But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is rightfully excited about the fact that Tucker Carlson has lost influence. This is the highest that he will ever be. His peak was Fox News. You know, Bill O'Reilly was Fox News's top host for a while, his top-rated guy, or its top-rated guy, for years. And eventually, Bill O'Reilly was fired. And that's as high as he ever was when he was the host at Fox. It was only downhill from there. Megyn Kelly, Glenn Beck, all of these people at one time or another were Fox News's top-rated people. And they fell, never to be seen again. So whatever Tucker ends up doing after this, probably a Rumble deal. I mean, hell, Russia offered him a position with their propaganda arm. Dead serious. Whatever it is he ends up doing, he'll never be as high as he was on Fox News. Now, hang on. Give me a second here. Let me step back a few seconds. Listen to this again.
That's why it's, I don't want to say unsettling, it's expected, but of course it's aggravating to people like AOC.
Right, talking about AOC. So AOC is giddy, not about the fact that he has been censored by corporate overlords, whatever other garbage like that. Fox News has no obligation to host his show. She's not giddy over that. She's giddy over the fact that Tucker is now on a downswing. He is going to fail, inevitably now. Almost certainly. I can't, unless he, like, even Glenn Beck, being the top guy at Fox for a while, tried to start his own network, and it did pretty well. The Blaze. I mean, okay, but it was no Fox News. So that's what she's happy about, that this Russian propagandist who actually had a job offered to him by Russia, by Russia's propaganda arm, no longer has as much influence over society as he used to. Rest assured, though, there will be another host, another extremist, another stochastic terrorist like Tucker to step in. Probably Jesse Waters, that's my guess.
Giddy with excitement at the idea of corporate censorship.
Tucker Carlson is out at Fox News. Couldn't have happened to a better guy.
What the hell was that noise? That was weird. By the by, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm using a different camera than usual. It's going to deactivate in about 20 minutes or so, or less, actually, maybe soon. I'm just going to have to hit a button on it and reactivate it. So if I disappear, just my face, rest assured, I'll be back.
Liar, whore, and you know it.
What I will say, though...
Dude, are they using like a soundboard to mock her right now? Is that what's happening?
...is...
Go ahead, cutie.
While
Spit it out.
I'm very glad that the person that was arguably responsible for the...
Give me a margarita.
Some of the largest, driving some of the most amounts of death threats and violent threats, not just to my office, but to plenty of people across
like
the country.
Like the pipe bomb that was never placed in the office you were never in?
Like what? Did she ever claim to have been in a room with a pipe bomb before? What's he even talking about right now? There were pipe bombs placed at the Capitol on January 6th, 2 of them. And there's credible, though circumstantial, evidence that it might have been Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, that's neither here nor there. There were definitely pipe bombs at the Capitol. Like, what are they talking about? They're just propagandists, once again, looking for an opportunity to lie to their audience and confuse them and make her the enemy, once again, as always.
She was 6 buildings away.
Like waiting for the cutscene at the end of a Marvel movie after all the credits have rolled, and then you see like the villain's like hand reemerge out to grip over like the end of a building or something.
Oh, your throat.
But
dude, are they like laughing about the idea that like she would be strangled? Is that what they're doing right now? Seriously, like what goes through their heads? How do they arrive at the conclusions that they arrive at? That it's like a good thing or funny or enjoyable to like joke about people dying. I've never in my life, well, okay, when I was a teenager, I was kind of a D-bag, but I have never, at least as a public figure, ever joked about anything like that. Like, what the hell is wrong with them, dude? Really?
Deplatforming works, and it is important.
And eyes on the road, bitch.
There you go.
She's driving right now.
Yeah, she says deplatforming works. I completely agree. 100%. If deplatforming didn't work, people wouldn't be as upset about it as they are. If somebody is a terrorist, as I feel Tucker is, they don't need a platform on YouTube or Fox or whatever. Tucker has stoked violence in people that are desperate to create change, you know. Glenn Beck did this exact same thing. He actually was responsible for nearly a terrorist attack. It was only stopped by a cop who pulled this guy over. He was on his way to some company or organization, I don't remember what it was, that Glenn Beck had been talking about for like ever, about how evil it is and how disgusting it is, and they're taking your kids and blah, 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 blah. This dude gets pulled over by a cop, had a bunch of guns in his car, and was getting ready to go do something psychotic, and was like jailed for that because he like had the intent and the whole 9 yards. They're stochastic terrorists at Fox News, really. And I wish that, like, I love our free speech laws in the U.S. Seriously, I do. They're a little bit too loose, though. If people like Tucker Carlson can get on the air and cause terrorist events the way that he does, they need to be just a little bit more strict.
This can happen.
Oh, no, come on. She has a chauffeur. She appears as though she's one of the plebes.
She's driving with her paws, her hind legs.
Her hooves.
Her hooves. Thank you, hooves.
Yeah.
Hooves.
Yeah, you guys are all on the ball today. Deplatforming.
Wow, dude. Just, why? Like, what is... These people just bother me.
Works. There you go. This is what they want. To be clear, I don't want deplatforming of anyone that I disagree with. I want you to see the different points of view and let the cards fall where they may. They want people to be removed, and then they never debate the ideas. And
no. I mean, people have been debating these ideas for a long time, but when I hear, like, okay, I don't know if you guys saw this, but not too long ago, I reviewed this video from a KKK Grand Wizard. It's on my channel, on this channel. I talked about this KKK Grand Wizard in 1982 giving an interview with CNN. And the ideas that this Grand Wizard of the KKK was putting forward are the exact ideas, word for word, coming out of Steven Crowder's mouth, or, you know, Glenn Beck's, Bill O'Reilly's, Tucker Carlson's. Hell, Tucker Carlson is even worse than the KKK was in 1982. Dead serious. So, yeah, I don't feel the need to debate these ideas. They were debated in 1982 and earlier, and we figured it out. We know. They're bad. They're bad ideas. So, deplatform anybody that's a member of the KKK, or anybody who is repeating those ideas. Deplatform them. I don't want them in jail. I just want their platform yanked. That's all. And there's really no need to debate this stuff anymore.
And then they never debate the ideas. And by the way, AOC, the danger here is, even though she can do it, she's already inspiring young leftists across the country, with now many others calling for deplatforming, including other people on TikTok, and of course directing it at prominent right-wing figures.
Who is calling for people to deplatform somebody specific? Is there a big movement behind it? And who is being called to be deplatformed? Like, who is being targeted in this deplatforming effort? I mean, yes, she said deplatforming works. I'm also in favor of that. Is there some specific... I mean, he's claiming that there's like this very specific, you know, like organized effort to deplatform somebody. Who? I mean, he's just making this up entirely.
So I'm sure y'all have seen Boss Babes AOC's new Instagram story, and I just want to hop on here and say that she is completely right. Deplatforming works, and I think it's time we start using our feminine voices to inspire real change in this world. And if I'm being honest, I don't really know who Tucker Carlson is, nor do I really care, but his 1995 Tommy Hilfiger look, tacky AF, so I think it's a good thing that he's gone. Anyways, I don't think we should stop with him. I think our next target needs to be Elon Musk for 3 reasons. 1, because he's white, gross. 2...
Oh, this is just ridiculous, dude. Come on. This is just a joke. I mean, yeah, there's the occasional person out there that wants to deplatform somebody, but let me tell you what Steven Crowder is doing right now. It's something called... Oop. No, please don't play this. Please don't play this. Okay. It's something called the nut-picking fallacy. I'll tell you why that would have been devastating in a second. Okay, the nut-picking fallacy. Let's talk about this. That's exactly what he's doing right now. Nut-picking is the fallacious tactic of picking out and showcasing the nuttiest members of a group as the best representatives of that group, hence picking the nut. This fallacy is committed when an arguer cherry-picks a poor representative of a group to use as an ad hominem against them. For example, anti-feminists frequently paint people who support feminism as feminazis by highlighting examples of ridiculous or cringeworthy behavior from select individuals, rather than critiquing points addressed in mainline feminist writings. That's why it's different when I criticize the people that I do, because I'm criticizing Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson and Steven Crowder, 5 million subbies on YouTube. Who are they criticizing? Who are they holding up as a bastion of the left? AOC says deplatforming works. Full stop. Then they find some rando on here taking it even further and saying we need to deplatform Elon Musk because he's white. That's nutpicking. And they try to sneak it in as an honest criticism of a legitimate target of criticism, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is a public figure. Her ideas are discussed in academic circles, and she's a member of the House of Representatives. She is a legitimate target for criticism. Not this person. And AOC did not back up the ideas that this person is espousing. This is the nature of propaganda. This is how they sneak the propaganda in. Now, one more thing I wanted to mention. I almost played this video. This is God's Not Dead 2. So I've been watching God's Not Dead and God's Not Dead 2. This is a quick aside. I'll come back to Steven Crowder in a second. But I've been watching these movies on my channels like over the past week or two. And yeah, it has not been going well. They the company that owns God's Not Dead basically filed a copyright claim against me. And so I have like 9 different episodes or 9 different videos or something like that, or maybe 10 across different channels of me like reviewing the movie beginning to end, like all of it, right? And so I had to go through this process of requesting a review of the copyright system. Apparently, the company just immediately rejected it because it's just the company that has to review this. The next step is the company. I file a dispute, like an appeal, and then YouTube apparently. I'm a little unfamiliar with the process still. YouTube apparently reviews it, and if YouTube thinks that there's nothing there, that the company is just being like shitheads, then YouTube will put the video back up, and the company's next step is to file documents in court. Now, I'm completely in the clear. There's no chance in hell they're going to file a lawsuit against me for copyright infringement because I'm not infringing on their copyright. This falls within fair use, as clear as day. So they're just going to make my life difficult this entire time for who knows how long. So yeah, I've been dealing with that. But the company, I filed the first of 9, not disputes, but appeals. And the company released part 1 of the video, or the first video, first of 9 or 10. So we'll see if they release all of the others and how timely that'll be and all that other junk. But I feel like I can't just let them, like, I can't just not show these videos, right? I have to put these on YouTube. This is a religious extremist group trying to silence me, trying to prevent me from criticizing them at any cost. Scientology did the same thing to me one time. So I'm pretty much ready to go through whatever it takes to settle this, to make sure that I can put these up on YouTube, just about. I'm ready to go all the way. I probably won't have to, like, go to court or anything. I seriously doubt it. They're not that stupid. You know, if we ended up going to court, they'd 100% for sure lose. But anyways, yeah, that's what I've been dealing with lately. So I didn't want to play God's Not Dead 2 by accident because, you know, it would cause a huge mess if I did. I'd have to go through, like, the whole copyright system again for this video. Anyway, yeah, let's get back to Tucker Carlson and, what's his name? Steven Crowder. Oh, don't forget to check out my website, owenmorgan.com. I would appreciate that. Sign up for my email list. That'd be awesome. And don't forget, if you watch a video of mine, watch it beginning to end instead of just, like, jumping out at a certain point. All right, let's keep listening. So, yeah, they're engaging in the nut-picking fallacy here.
Be Elon Musk for 3 reasons. 1, because he's white, gross. 2, he's from Africa, and they're, like, really poor there. And 3...
I mean, this is satire, right? She's doing satire right now. This cannot be real. You can't convince me this is real. He's white. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is, like, a conservative trying to pretend to be a left-winger, because this makes no sense.
Gross. 2, he's from Africa, and they're, like, really poor there. And 3, his cars don't even work. I tried filling out my Tesla Roadster the other day, and I couldn't even find the gas hole.
Yeah, this is satire. He's not even nut-picking. This is probably a conservative. And he's using this as the basis to conclude that, you know, the left is completely unhinged. This is how propaganda works.
So I just poured it on the engine because, like, what else am I supposed to do? So I started a new hashtag, #NoMoreAfricans, so we can get him impeached from being the president of the Senate. Anyways, until next time, bye!
And by the way,
yeah, I'm convinced that that was a right-winger pretending to be a left-winger. That is not real.
Anyways.
But again, he's using this as the premise to claim that the left is calling for deplatforming people because they're white. Seriously.
Till next time. Bye.
And by the way, keep your compliments in the chat. And to Nick, keep them tasteful because we understand how adorable Riley is, okay? We're very protective of our ladies here.
Nick said gasshole.
Oh, wait. Do they know her? Apparently they do.
I don't want to hear it!
There's no lefty that looks like that.
No, exactly.
Lefty boy. I saw no 5 o'clock shadow, no giant forehead.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
She must be a new lefty.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. Okay, I guess she is on the right, and they're making a joke about people on the left being ugly. Genius. Fantastic. On point. Absolutely.
She is. She's from the new left.
Well, she made 3 lefts, and so she's back right.
There you go.
I think that's how it works. I don't know. I had a remote control car. So here's the thing. If Tucker's exit seems a little fishy, and we don't have all the information, you're not alone. And that brings us to, I want to kind of walk through the other instances that have been very similar to this because the leftists said that deplatforming works. Mm-hmm. It's time for Curious Coincidences.
Curious Coincidences? Okay. Oh, is this like a segment that he does? I don't watch his show very often, almost never. Dude, come on, get to it. Like, are they gonna... All right, here we go.
Oh, it's the worst time to come back from the stinger because it's like I have a chest burp that isn't quite there yet. But when it is, I'll just hit the button. So let's go through coincidence. Have you noticed this, Nick? Like the kind of the pattern here of conservative commentators and figures who've been getting deplatformed or attacked at an increasing rate the last 2 months?
Yeah, it lends more credence to my theory. There's 10 people in a room.
Yeah.
8 of them.
Wait, what was that? Hang on. Let me listen one more time. Think about what he's saying here.
Like the kind of the pattern here. deplatformed or attacked of conservative commentators and figures who've been getting deplatformed or attacked at an increasing rate the last 2 months?
Yeah, who else? What other conservative talk show hosts or whatever have been like deplatformed? What's he talking about right now?
There's more credence to my theory. There's 10 people in a room.
Yeah.
8 of them are trans. One is gay, and one's a Puerto Rican with a full headdress.
I don't know why they have to be Puerto Rican. They could be Dominican.
I'm just saying.
Could be Dominican.
This is definitely a global movement.
Okay,
I'm nervous about Tucker not being there.
But could you acknowledge that they could be Dominican?
Oh, yes.
It's possible. They don't have to be Puerto Rican.
This is so stupid. I don't feel like this is funny at all. They're trying to make jokes here. Apparently, Puerto Ricans and Dominicans are on the left. Is that the joke they're trying to tell, or what?
Well, look, all right.
It could be Dominican.
They're busy doing other stuff.
Yeah, I know. Like they're just being
winning a World
drafted to
Series. Yes.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm just saying it could be. I just don't want to be admonished. They could be Puerto Rican. They could be Dominican. I don't know. I say Dominican. So, coincidence number one. Okay, we have Tucker. He was fired. But this comes right after, less than a week, I guess, after Fox parted ways with Dan Bongino. Now, I know Dan Bongino said, hey, no ill will, and that's likely true.
Right. So Dan Bongino did part ways with Fox News, apparently. I didn't know that guy very well, but I heard he's a nutter butter. But it also happens immediately after the Dominion lawsuit was settled with Fox. Fox News has to pay Dominion voting systems or whatever, like $780-something million. And that's a pretty big deal. I don't think they're connected, Tucker's firing and the Dominion thing, but I guess time will tell. By the by, Rick Robin Cagnan, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate that. Have you read Son of Truth and Because You're My Family? Both of these are from Brave Books. No, but I have them. I have the books. I have not read them yet. I would love to. They're on the list for sure. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. I can't wait to read those. Those may be next on the list to read. In fact, I may be reading them tomorrow. I don't know. We'll see. I may actually be doing the reading like for my Telltale Reads YouTube channel. I may be doing that on Thursday instead of Wednesday. We'll see.
But it also doesn't really seem to make a lot of sense. Dan Bongino, for people, whether you like him or don't like him, he's a consistent conservative. He's been a friend to the show.
Yeah.
The guy absolutely has a backbone. He's willing to say things that, by the way, certainly would ruffle some feathers from...
Yeah, totally. Yeah, absolutely. He's consistent in his support of KKK talking points. He's been repeating them since the 80s. He's been talking about how fantastic, white people are and how black people are ruining the country for a long time. Friend of the show. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
Sort of the milquetoast people on the right. So I don't necessarily... It's a pattern that you're seeing with
He's got
Fox.
a pretty good following, too, as opposed to some of the other,
He's here on Rumble, actually, right now. If you're right there, I'm sure there's probably a link. You can watch him on Rumble because I think he was removed from YouTube not long ago.
Well, and understanding that he needed another place to be able to go, it's like, there you go.
Absolutely.
Isn't it Murdoch? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Isn't it Murdoch's kid who's the problem? I blame it on the younger brass.
I mean,
and Suzanne Scott.
Yeah.
Put a fella in there.
I have to be careful because I was
Put
there
a fella
for
in
4.5
there.
years.
You what? Like I said, she's a good broad. Go ahead.
Yeah. There you go.
And he's terrific too.
No, the thing is,
Dude, what are they saying? I feel like we just missed something important. What is it that Steven Crowder just said about that woman? About Dan Bongino's daughter, or was it the Murdoch's kid?
The younger brass.
I mean,
and Suzanne Scott.
Yeah.
Put a fella in there.
I have to be careful because
Suzanne Scott.
Put a fella in there. Like years. You what? Like I said, she's a good broad.
He dated her for 4.5 years. Is that what he said? Who the hell is he talking about?
Go ahead.
Yeah. There you go.
And he's terrific too.
No, the thing is,
yeah, a good broad. He says. Okay.
The thing is,
what am I on ABC?
No, I don't want to get sued.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't want to get sued, but
I didn't go over your briefs before.
Whatever you just said. Yeah. So
he can't be sued for anything that just happened. What are they even talking about? Defamation is such a high bar to meet. It's ridiculous. It's like the default position in the U.S. is to do absolutely nothing. It's like it's so difficult to be sued for defamation in the U.S. It's so difficult to win a copyright infringement case in some situations, I guess. I don't know.
Well
for culpable deniability, I didn't listen to what Nick says. I never did.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah.
So I said
Deniability. He said culpable. Did he mean plausible deniability? This is just complete nonsense, all of it. These people are ridiculous.
yes, not knowing. But so coincidence number 2. Look, Matt Walsh was hacked last week. In case you don't know that. Which, look, again, this is.
Oh yeah, that was interesting. Matt Walsh was hacked, including but not limited to every email that he has ever sent or received for 20 years or some crazy thing. Oh my God, it's crazy. I'll be interested to see if something comes out of that Matt Walsh hack. But what does that have to do with Tucker? I can't imagine the connection he's trying to build here.
Matt Walsh was hacked last week, in case you don't know that. Which, look, again, this is not about who you personally like or dislike. I know there are a lot of conservatives who like Matt Walsh. Most do. I know there are a lot of people who he rubs in the wrong way. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't revel in the joy. You shouldn't revel in the hacking.
Your mom rubs me the wrong way.
And leaking of private information. This is a concerted effort and a violation of privacy. It's a crime.
Okay, wait. How did we get here? Okay, let's just step back and think about the chain of events here, all right? So he says Matt Walsh was hacked. Matt Walsh was hacked. Yes, that's accurate. He was hacked, and that is a crime. Absolutely. I don't think I stand for, like, releasing any private data or anything. Like, I'm not a fan of, like, I wouldn't stand for any private data being released with Matt Walsh or whatever. But how does this tie back to Tucker? I'm so lost.
This is a concerted effort and a violation of privacy. It's a crime. Okay, let's also go to coincidence number 3.
What coincidence? What's the coincidence here? I'm missing it. What happened to Tucker that is similar to Matt Walsh? What? I mean, Tucker had some of his texts released. If you're watching this 5 years in the future, in the Dominion lawsuit, Tucker Carlson had his text messages subpoenaed and stuff, basically. And they turned him over and found that he knew for a fact that, Dominion voting systems did not, like, meddle in the election or any of that stuff. And that's how the lawsuit was won, basically, because they established without a shadow of a doubt that it was malicious. They knew it was a lie, and they were spreading it anyways. That's one of the preconditions to win a defamation lawsuit. That wasn't a hack. That wasn't leaked material. That was public court documents. And Tucker put himself in that situation 100%. Nothing illegal about it.
James O'Keefe was.
Let's step back. Listen to that one more time.
Private information. This is a concerted effort and a violation of privacy. It's a crime. Okay, let's also go to coincidence number 3. You have James O'Keefe was forced out from Project Veritas at the end of February. And here's the thing.
Okay, that's because, look, here's the problem. I've found the hang-up. I know why this is such an issue with Steven Crowder. The right has a whole bunch of complete scumbags in it. That's the problem. James O'Keefe used to deceptively edit videos to make situations seem like something other than what they actually were. Basically, effectively lying about people. And he ended up spending a ton of money from Project Veritas on his own interests. And the board of Project Veritas, the company he was like the CEO for, kicked him out because he was spending obscene amounts of money on his own stuff. He's using the company's bank account as a slush fund, basically, is what it was, right? That's just scumbag behavior. If you don't like the fact that some conservatives in the movement are being, like, pushed out, don't bring scumbags into the movement, and you don't have to worry about it anymore, right? Tucker Carlson, I don't know why he was fired, but he's an extremist and a stochastic terrorist, so he deserved to be fired. Who was the other person he mentioned? It was James O'Keefe, Tucker. Oh, Matt Walsh. He's a domestic terrorist, without a shadow of a doubt. Principally, I don't stand for people hacking other people and then leaking that hacked stuff. If it's, like, newsworthy, then I think I could make an exception for it. But by and large, I'm not a huge fan. Either way, that guy's a domestic terrorist, like I said, so I have zero sympathy. Mr. Softlock27, thank you so much for the super chat.
If you look at it, again, whether you like James O'Keefe or not, the worst thing it seems like he did was he maybe took someone's sandwich from the fridge.
Well, and he had the audacity to use a private plane to go raise millions of dollars from donors.
Asshole!
So he
Talking about James O'Keefe? No, he did a lot more than that. He spent a ton of money. Why are they defending this guy? He spent a ton of company money on some musical production, something or other. He was using it as a slush fund, effectively. He was wasting company money. Like, how can they justify this? Seriously.
He could make the trip possible.
Yeah.
Come on.
So this is what happens with the personalities who you have. Right.
Oh my gosh.
You have 4 there, or 3 that we have.
Well, you're actually missing one. You.
Oh, myself? Yeah. This has been happening for a long time.
Maybe it's because it's happened for the last 5, 6
all
years.
the leaks they always happen coincidentally.
Oh, you forget another one. Pat Robertson. They're pushing on him.
He can leg press 1,100 pounds.
Wow. Pat Robertson had leaks? I don't remember any Pat Robertson leaks. I'm going to have to look into that. Oh, my God. I'm writing that down. Pat Robertson leaks. Let's see. That's interesting. Why do so many Americans support Russia in their war against Ukraine? Even Fox News Australia, called Sky, supports Ukraine, even calling for more Aussie tanks to go there. Most Christians outside U.S. don't believe in the rapture. Interesting. Really? Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It's like an evangelical thing. Okay, I can see that. But like a Protestant thing, and the Puritans and the Protestants and all that kind of really got their boom in America in the early days. But anyways, why do they support Russia in the war against Ukraine? I don't think there are many people that do. I think there are many evangelicals that do, though. By percentage, they probably make up 7% of the U.S., but Russia has successfully worked their way into or created a propaganda network for, the Christian evangelical people. That Russia, like Putin, has an in with evangelicals. Putin, God, okay. You know what? I'm going to have to, let me just show you this clip real quick, okay? Give me a second. All right, so there's a woman named Delora O'Brien. She's a QAnon member, right? Now, this video came out by Delora O'Brien. This came out early March 2022, maybe even late February 2022, okay? Now, that was immediately after the Ukraine war started. It was like a week or two after the war starts. Everybody in the United States was either shutting their mouth completely or supporting Ukraine. In fact, everybody in the world, they were either dead silent or supporting Ukraine. Because there's no good reason for what Russia did. None. If you stand against imperialism, you stand against Russia, basically, in this situation, right? Well, Delora O'Brien, right when this stuff starts, right when the war begins, QAnon member, by the way, she's a member of QAnon. She comes out there and says this.
I'm not on Putin's side. I'm not on Zelensky's side. I'm not on Trump's side. I'm on God's side. God's side is the side of truth. It just so happens that right now, our President Trump is on the side of God.
No.
Also, believe it or not, so is Putin.
No. How do you arrive at that position? This is the evidence that I needed to discover that Putin has an in with QAnon. He has like a connection to them, a link to them. QAnon is effectively like an arm of the Russian government at this point. In my opinion, I believe that QAnon was started by Putin in the first place, basically. And he kind of pulls the lever of power behind the scenes by swaying people's beliefs and, seeding these ideas here or there. Keep listening to this.
Right before I came on here, this is what was sent to me. A Russian soldier. I even have his name, and I can't give it. I'm sorry. I can't. Just Research it. I'm sure it'll start coming out.
Of course, it never came out. It's completely made up.
Searching for bioweapons. There was him and a few of the other soldiers.
See, this is what's fascinating to me. This propaganda piece right here about Russia searching for bioweapons was not the immediate reasoning that Russia gave for why they were invading. The bioweapons thing didn't come until later. Originally, they were saying they were fighting Nazis. And then when that fell to pieces, they moved to the bioweapons thing. But listen to this. All the way back then, all the way in March of 2022, when when the war started, she received this piece of propaganda from who? Don't know. About Russia, finding bioweapons in Ukraine and all this other garbage.
Searching for bioweapons in central Ukraine, stumbled upon a child trafficking den.
And that right there is the thing that they used to get this to really appeal to the QAnon crowd. I don't think they don't care about bioweapons. They don't care about Nazis. They don't care about any of that. But when you say child trafficking, there's just something that goes off in like a QAnoner's brain. They're like, oh, I immediately have to take a stand on this no matter what. And the stand that I take on whatever this issue is relating to child trafficking is going to be opposed to whatever the Democrats believe or think or want or whatever. Even when it comes down to child brides, child marriages. Democrats are opposed to child marriages. You know what that means. Means we've got to support it. Anyway, the point is QAnon is an arm of the Russian propaganda machine, in my opinion. Oh, so yeah, back to what I was saying. You asked why so many Americans support Russia in the war against Ukraine. I don't think they do. I think it's a very small percentage, but the percentage that do are loud and obnoxious and scream about it constantly. And as a result, it seems like more pronounced, like they're the ones that are, in the majority. So anyways, yeah, QAnon is an arm of the Russian government, and that's why, basically.
And Pat Robertson, they're pushing on him.
He can leg press 1,100 pounds.
Wow.
What? Oh, yeah, someone bring up control room. Bring up that overlay where he's like, I leg press 1,100 pounds. And he has knee wraps, he has wrist straps, and he's putting his hands on his leg. He's like, for Jesus.
That's true. He said he could only do 850. Then Jesus came into life right up to
exactly.
Wait, what? I've never heard of this before.
He turned his water into pre-workout.
Jesus is a monster drink.
Hercules.
Jesus gave me a spot.
Yeah. And for recovery, his final miracle, the never-ending pasta bowl at Olive Garden. Old people love Bob Evans at Olive Garden.
Oh, dude, it's not just old people. I love Bob Evans. I haven't had Bob Evans in a hot minute. I should, you know what's sad? New York City is an incredible place, but there are some chains that are really amazing, like Bob Evans. There's no Bob Evans here that I know of. There's also no Sonic Drive-In. Oh, my God, dude. I love Sonic Drive-In. And I, almost never have them because there isn't one. I think there's one on Long Island, but that's, really far away from me, so. Oh, Russia Today made a public offer to Tucker. I saw that. That doesn't surprise me at all. I'm surprised that they made it public. I feel like it probably would have been a better idea to keep it quiet, but Tucker is very obviously a Russian agent. If not a Russian agent, then at the very least a useful idiot. Somebody who carries water for Russia, does things for Russia, and spreads their propaganda for them. At the very least. No one in the world supports Russia. You need to seriously look into the Chinese propaganda where children chant in classrooms supporting Russia. Us Orthodox Christians don't believe in literal hell. I meant immediately after the war started. Everybody either supported Ukraine or were silent. China didn't say a word for a while. Eventually, China came out in favor of Russia, of course. But yeah, it took a while. And like what was it? 160 countries out of 192 maybe voted against Russia continuing their war, and the others either voted present, or I think 2 of them voted like in favor or voted in favor of the war against Ukraine, something like that. I don't remember now. It's been a while. Anyway, thank you guys for the super chats. Appreciate it.
Blue plate special. Baby.
So Tucker Bongino, although that wasn't really a hack, obviously. Matt Walsh hacked. James O'Keefe ousted. Yeah, and then...
You notice how he slipped that in? He says the Bongino Tucker hack, although it wasn't a hack. No, it wasn't. So what's the coincidence here? He's trying to, like, convince us that there are too many coincidences, that this should be, like, raise red flags. There's no coincidence. Oh, yeah, somebody says... Sorry, I keep pausing it. I'm going to step back so we can hear the whole thing. Smash that like button, or optionally, if you choose, you can press it lightly or caress it gently. You don't have to smash it. Sometimes smashing doesn't do the job properly, I've come to find. Sometimes poking it gently is actually preferable. And if that's the case for you, you can do that for the like button instead of smashing it. But don't forget to watch the videos that I release from beginning to end, if you do watch one. Like, you don't, I'm not going to, like, beg for views or something here. I'm just saying, if you do watch a video, try to make it to the very end. I've considered making my videos shorter also in an effort to kind of, because it goes by watch time percentage, apparently. I believe. I think that's how it works. So, anyway.
James O'Keefe ousted. Yeah, and then you have a coincidence number 4. Tucker's firing, by the way. It also comes immediately after Fox settled this lawsuit with Dominion. Something else you may not know, coincidence number 5. Rumble has been under relentless DDoS attacks since we've gone over. And this
Okay, I don't know that any of this is true, like about Rumble or any of that, but guess what? Companies go through DDoS attacks. That happens. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't like that. I'm not in favor of that. How does that relate to Tucker Carlson being fired? What's the coincidence here? I'm not seeing the coincidence.
This is what happens rather than covering the numbers, rather than covering what actually happens, this monumental shift. Notice you don't really see it at places like Media Matters or Daily Beast. What happens is there are attacks behind the scenes, like yesterday where the view counter was like Ed Rooney's attendance computer went beep, 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 beep. So Rumble, and here's the beauty of Rumble, though, they understand this and they're building it out so they are dependent on no one else. That just takes more time. But they have been...
What, are you trying to tell me Rumble is currently building a DDoS protection network like Cloudflare or something? That would take an absurd amount of time and money. I can't imagine that they're actually trying to do that. Although it would make sense that, like, I would be willing to bet that Cloudflare won't work with Rumble or something, or can't for one reason or another. I can't imagine, like, video sharing networks or whatever, are easy to create DDoS protections for. By the way, if you don't know what DDoS is, just a brief, 15-second explanation. It's basically where, when you go to a website, you are sending a request to that server. Like, hey, can you send me this web page? I want to look at it. And the server runs the program to send you a copy of the source code that belongs, to that website or whatever. So a DDoS attack is when you get a network of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of computers, or basically of requests, all hitting the server at the same time. And when it does that, parts of the server kind of fall apart. It starts prioritizing certain programs over others because it can't keep up with all the requests. And it makes it vulnerable to hacks, makes it easier to kind of access stuff if everything is kind of falling apart. Now, server administrators have gotten pretty good at protecting against that stuff by banning IP addresses if they request the same website more than 2 or 3 times within a minute, right? But that's why hackers will find cheap, easy targets. Just little websites around that, don't have much protection or aren't that elaborate or don't have fantastic security, and they'll hack into them because they're simple. And now they have a node that they can use to send a request through a DDoS attack, basically. That's how DDoSing works. And Cloudflare is a network that can absorb up to 100,000 or something, maybe 1 million different DDoS nodes simultaneously. I don't even remember. They advertise it on their website. And they'll work with just about anybody. So I'm not sure why Rumble isn't using somebody like Cloudflare. That's weird.
More time. But they have been subject to relentless DDoS attacks. Hopefully today, this is still up there right now. If you're watching, hit the Rumble button and let them know that you love them. Comment on Rumble because it happens at least once a week where there's a concerted effort. All of this at one time. At what point do you say, hey, this is a coincidence when the left, like AOC, these people are saying, hey, deplatforming really works. One side demands transparency. One side precludes it.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Transparency? What? What is he even talking about right now? Nothing that he just said established the idea that the left excludes transparency. What does he mean the left? Did he say precludes it? I think he said precludes transparency. What does he mean? What's he even referring to? He didn't establish anything to back that position up. It's nonsense.
One side demands transparency. One side precludes it.
Yeah. And you know what the guys over there, so I was on the phone with them a lot yesterday, and Chris and his team of engineers, they basically just work around the clock to get these things fixed. So thank you guys for the work you're doing because, look, it's hard to set this up. It's not hard because you have to compete. That's hard enough, right?
Right.
Your mom's hard.
It's not hard because the game's not fair. That's hard enough, right? It's not hard because the government's all against you and they want you to lose. It's hard because when you start to win, other people start to try to take you down. Not competing fairly by attacking.
Such victims, right? These poor guys, they're being victimized by everybody around them. Can't people just leave these poor millionaires alone and let them repeat KKK talking points? Why can't people just let them do their thing without criticizing the fact that they're repeating KKK talking points? Honestly, it's just sad.
You behind the scenes by making your tech hard, by making your life hard.
Yeah.
So thanks for all the work, guys. We really do appreciate it.
And by the way, this is something that's very common. I was speaking with a lawyer who has represented some of the biggest clients in Hollywood.
Yeah.
The most common thing, let me ask you this, if you're watching, like Matt Walsh, okay? My heart really goes out to the guy. Does anyone out there, would you want every single one of your private texts or emails or search history to be available to the public?
No, I wouldn't. I also wouldn't like it I wouldn't appreciate it if somebody was acting like a domestic terrorist and inspiring terrorist attacks on children's hospitals and, any number of other people and things and places. I mean, Boston Children's Hospital is not the only place that Matt Walsh inspired a terrorist attack on. There are lots of them. And I also wouldn't like it if somebody was intentionally, maliciously, specifically, in my opinion, lying about the trans community, about demonizing a group of people in an effort to hurt them, to destroy them. And a matter of fact, Matt Walsh not too long ago said in a video, if you're disturbed by the things that I say about the trans community, you should hear what I don't say about the trans community, not publicly. Something to that effect. I need to find that clip. I saw it recently, and yeah, I need to figure out where it is so I have a copy of it. But I don't want anybody to be hacked. I don't want my private texts going out. I also don't want anybody to act like a terrorist. Unfortunately, we don't live in a world of there's a saying here, isn't there? There's something really funny, right? If we lived in a world of likes and haves, something, I don't remember. Anyway, we don't live in a world like that, unfortunately. So.
No.
Think about that. Now, it doesn't mean you're doing anything illegal.
No!
But don't you... Sound like Tom Hanks. No, guys, no!
Oh, God.
I mean, it's a violation of your privacy. There are people. So there was a celebrity.
This is another part of the propaganda, what he's doing here. He is focusing on Matt Walsh's bad luck or the hard situation he's found himself in, which is having his text messages sent out, rather than focusing on the fact that he's a domestic terrorist. Seriously, look into internal Chinese propaganda about Russia. It's really bad, and lie to the rest of the world about neutrality. Oh, 100%. Yeah, I don't even think that they're lying about neutrality anymore, are they? I think they came out, China did, not too long ago, and kind of voiced their support of Russia. Or what was it? Or maybe it was that they sent a bunch of supplies to Russia, something like that. I don't remember now, but yeah, it's not good. I agree, 100%. How about kissing the like button? You can do that as long as the computer registers the click. I think that's fine. Yeah, kissing would work too. Let me know how the like button likes that.
An A-list female star. This is a story that was related to...
rules out Kathy Griffin. Go ahead.
Yes, it does.
Paris Hilton?
Yeah.
I don't know. You're probably in we're in Deborah Winger territory until 2 years in.
I'm sorry. I think I missed that. Let's step back a little.
An A-list female star. This is a story. It's a violation of your privacy. There are people. So there was a celebrity, an A-list female star. This is a story that was related to...
rules out Kathy Griffin. Go ahead.
Yes, it does.
Paris Hilton?
Okay, A-list celebrity. Why are they taking shots at these people? I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're probably in we're in Deborah Winger territory until 2 years in. You're this is not nearly as...
Vivian Vance?
We bet on the wrong person. She's no Annette Bening. So this was a top star. Someone broke into this person's house. This is pre-internet. Stole nude pictures.
Oh, that's right. You told me.
Stole nude pictures of this woman and was going to reveal them to the public. Now, here's the thing. That's a crime. But the person who did this was so confident that this celebrity would rather forego the embarrassment of nude pictures being released that she would settle rather than prosecute the crime. This happened.
Sure. I can see that. I mean, I don't know what story he's referring to. He's not giving us specific names, but okay. I mean, this hypothetical, I can see this happening.
Happens all the time. Shit.
I don't know about happening all the time, but okay, I can see this being a plausible story.
Takedowns of people in positions of power, certainly public positions, happen all the time. And I think that Matt Walsh was smart, by the way, to say, I was hacked, because you know what they were going to try and do. Yeah. I think that Tucker Carlson saying, hey, look, this is what's going on, it removes a lot of those teeth, but you just need to know that that's what happens all the time. And Rumble, basically being held hostage by, hey, if you're too successing, we're going to keep DDoSing attacking you.
Okay, people get DDoS'd all the time. What's he talking about? He's acting like this is the first time in history anybody has ever been DDoS'd. I've been DDoS'd before. It's really not that uncommon, although it's a lot harder to get away with it now, because when a DDoS attack happens, companies usually server farms, like AWS, Amazon's web services, usually they will track, the DDoS systems that were used, and they will alert the owners of the servers, the nodes, and tell them you've got a hack, you need to clean it up. But yeah, I've been DDoS. This isn't that rare. What's he talking about? He's acting like this is a point of persecution for all conservatives. They're so mistreated because conservatives are the only ones that ever get DDoS'd.
Help me out.
Denial of service tactics, where they overload servers, they hack in behind. It's kind of an umbrella term. Point is, they're being hacked.
I get that at a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not really an umbrella term. It's very specific. There's a specific meaning behind this, but okay. He doesn't want to explain it right now, I guess.
We're going to keep DDoSing attacking you.
DDoS, help me out.
Denial of service tactics, where they overload servers, they hack in behind. It's kind of an umbrella term. Point is, they're being hacked.
I get that at a restaurant.
Yeah, Bob Evans. The early bird special, where you can...
It stands for distributed denial of service, DDoS. Some people call it DDoS, and that bothers me like nothing else.
go, you can get a stack of pancakes and hear the N-word relentlessly around you.
Really?
Yeah, Bob Evans.
You got the address?
Only till 10 a.m. though. Then they outlaw the N-word
Yes,
after
that's
that.
true. Well, no, it's just said in code.
Well.
But they're too loud, so they don't say it in code. They still just say it.
By the way, can I admonish you really quickly? Can we get an admonishment coming?
What happened?
Yeah.
Pat Robertson actually leg pressed 2,000.
Oh my word! Do we have the video or the picture?
I don't know if we have an overlay or something. Hootie?
What?
Nothing?
Where are you guys going with this one?
You don't have your microphone anywhere near you.
Hootie, do you have the picture?
Have you done this before?
Yeah, we have a picture here. Did Pat Robertson leg press 2,000 pounds? This is an article written in 2006. According to the CBM website, Robertson worked his way up lifting a ton with the help
I
of
don't care what some article says. Do we have a picture of the old man breaking his hip?
So we have this as well.
When he was 73.
Oh, okay. So 40 years ago? Okay, here we go.
Yeah, Pat Robertson, I think, isn't he like 93? I think he's 93. Wait, this is 06? He was 73 in 06. Is that true? Let's see. How old is Pat Robertson? No need to wonder. Just loaded up our question gun. Let's go answer hunting. 93. Yep, he's 93 years old. Wow. That is old. I hope I live to be that old.
There we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, of this extraordinary. Well, there,
It's just
there
a
it is.
still?
Is this, this is, you can see that.
Yeah, I can't
it was
see
a
nothing.
monstrous amount of weight on that thing. But you measured the 2,000. You measured the 2,000 pounds.
His range of movement
Well,
was
there's
like
one
a half
Well,
inch.
look, I guarantee you that he did it. He took his miracle water, and
Come on.
it worked.
Yeah,
I mean,
Why do you need that?
by the way, a leg press is not a real lift. Okay, if you can lift 2,000 pounds, I might as well lift it with a forklift. I'm the strongest man in the world.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe this. It seems like they're even skeptical of this. I'm just having a hard time believing it.
Also shit himself. They don't show that clip.
Exactly.
You
This
could
is
do it
one big glorified guerrilla campaign for Depends.
He had the opportunity. God was listening closely. I know God hears us all. Don't get me wrong here, but God was listening closely enough to Pat Robertson that he used it on lifting 2,000 pounds.
Yeah.
You couldn't save
The
some
Lord
kids?
helped me leg press 2,000 pounds, then he parted my red cheeks.
It's like,
Never mind the start.
Dude, why? This is terrible.
Still funny. I'm 98. It's still funny.
come on.
All right, you guys can comment below. This has been Curious Coincidences.
Yeah, okay. So I guess that's the end of it. That made no sense. But you know what I find particularly interesting about this whole thing? So let's see. I think I started at, it was about 53 minutes into the video. Again, we're going to watch the entire thing beginning to end tomorrow. There's a lot more to this. In the beginning, he talks about, he talks about blackmail and extortion by Candace Owens. Oh, it's going to be interesting. So give this a look. If you missed this, if you're watching this the next day and the live stream already happened, don't sweat it. Go to my website, owenmorgan.com. I have all of my stuff aggregated there. So just search for like Steven Crowder. Video should pop up. I mean, it may not be edited and cleaned up yet. So depending on when you see this, it may not be available yet. But within the next, week, certainly it should be uploaded there. Anyways, yeah, he talks about like, he gets nervous and stuff. He talks about his divorce. Apparently he's getting divorced. It's crazy. So give that a listen. 10:30 a.m. Wednesdays and Thursday mornings. Every Wednesday and Thursday. Although this week is complicated because I'm meeting up with a YouTuber friend that's coming to the area, but that's neither here nor there. What I find interesting about this whole thing, though, is that 55 minutes is roughly when this starts, right? 54 minutes, and we just made it to an hour and 7 minutes, so 12 minutes, right? That's 12 minutes that we spent listening to this guy, and half the time he wasn't even talking about Tucker Carlson. He devoted an entire segment to Don Lemon. It was nonstop talking about Don Lemon. I think, 20 minutes, 30 minutes maybe? He's talking about Don Lemon being removed from CNN, and he devoted a fraction of a 12-minute segment to Tucker Carlson. And it was at the end. That's fascinating, right? Fascinating how they kind of protect their own. There's no reason to even do that. Like, if somebody does something wrong, you should be able to call them out. If somebody doesn't do something wrong, you shouldn't have this bizarre obsession with hating them, the way that he seems to have this obsession with hating anybody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport. It's just crazy, dude. Anyways, yeah, let me know what you think about it in the comments. Also, don't forget to smash the like button. Follow me over to my Telltale Unfiltered YouTube channel, link in the description to see the rest of this tomorrow. Couple more things. Check out my website, owenmorgan.com. Watch my videos beginning to end if possible. And finally, thank you, Jonna Funkhauser, for the sticker. Stampede122 said it once already. Pat Robertson is a dino at this point. Oh, 100%, dude. Again, I wish I could live to this age. Like, this guy was alive when segregation was still in effect. In fact, he was preaching and probably owned a ministry when segregation. He probably segregated his congregation. I'd be surprised if he didn't. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Anyways, yeah. Thank you guys so much for coming. Appreciate it. Don't forget to smash that like button, and I will see you guys, or gently caress it, whatever you guys think. And I will see you guys hopefully tomorrow morning. If not tomorrow morning, I will see you next week, okay?